Greetings, everyone, and welcome to an especially adventuristic, nerdy episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster
Party. Creatures, beasts,
It's all
and things.
about the things that we like. And our adventures, and the things that we love, our obsessions, our loves, our hates.
Our nerd life.
Yes.
And speaking of nerd life, who are you, sir?
I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James GONIS.
And this is a very special episode.
Yes.
Because it's just us.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't have a guest this time.
It's just us raw and naked.
And this is where we can get down to it. You know,
Unplugged.
This is where we cut the bullshit.
That's right.
This is where I finally look at James and go, "Stop your shit."
Cut the bullshit.
I thought that was every show.
But this time I say it.
Oh, okay.
Before it's all with the eyes.
The eyes,
Yeah.
Intimated.
Yeah. The quiver in my jaw.
Well, I am excited. What is our topic?
Our topic was suggested by the lovely and curvaceous Shawn Sheridan. And it's just look at him.
He's a rail.
Yeah, I was always hot for olive oil. So, yeah. All he has to do is
Shelley
just
Duvall?
pull his. Yeah. Ooh. If you did a Shelley Duvall one-man show,
Yes.
you'd be in danger. my friend.
Shelley
True.
Duvall. What is our topic?
Shelley Duvall is our topic. No.
The title of this episode is Adventures in Nerdland.
Adventures in Nerdland.
That's right. It's just kind of
Shawn,
like
what the fuck does this mean?
it's kind of like a nerd's eye view of
Eye.
our life. It's like
I thought that's every day.
Yeah, but it's kind of like our experiences, our stories we have, our just our lives that we've had that
Okay,
is
I
very
buy it.
unique
Okay,
to
I buy
everybody
it. They're
else.
So fascinating. Oh,
But it is
my
though,
God.
because we have certain tastes and likes
And
that
you
are
will-
very different from the normal man or
the word
woman.
adventure will be redefined forever.
Yes, yes. It's kind of like general, all-encompassing kind of topic. It's just kind of like things throughout our lives from childhood to now that we've enjoyed and like that stick in our minds that we changed us.
Oh, yeah. And let's face it, since I heard Larry's story about working in Toys R Us and,
Right.
refusing Cabbage Patch dolls to little girls, I went, boy,
Yeah.
that's got to be just the tip of the iceberg.
You know, I
Right.
kind of I look back on that and I regret it.
Why?
I think,
Why?
Well, a young
What?
kid,
So you want-
16 years
So you don't care about the show
old,
anymore. You don't care about the show anymore. Okay, fine.
Why didn't I just let the little girl? Oh, hey, you want me to throw down a few more Cabbage Patch Kids so you can take
I
a look
get it.
at them?
No, I get it.
Here,
You
let me
don't-
throw it. Here's another blonde one and another blonde one. Here, take a look at this blonde one. And you know what would happen, Matt, if I did that? Okay, then she picks out her Cabbage Patch Kid.
Sure.
Guess
Right,
who has
right.
to put all those ones that she didn't want back upstairs? Me.
Okay, so if you're not doing that, what else are you doing during your time on the job?
What?
Well,
You mean at Toys R Us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Well,
that was one
restocking of the Cabbage Patch dolls.
Well, I did a lot of restocking. Oh my gosh.
but that's part
Oh.
of the job,
Like
right?
what?
You're being paid
Did you
for it.
stuck?
All right. Well, since this is
All right,
a
let's go.
tale,
Yeah, let's go.
this is
Let's
a
go.
tale.
This is your adventure.
Yeah, we opened Pandora's box.
No, I just want to say something kind of nice. I did mention that the manager at the time, he was a good guy. He was
Right,
a really
right.
good guy, and I respected him a lot. I had a supervisor who was good, but kind of anal like me. You know, all the toys upstairs were had to be stacked in there. I remember when I was first hired, and he basically went down the aisle, and everything was in alphabetical order. And he would start, with one brand of toy, and would go down, and then he goes, Coleco. Coleco, the maker of this and that, and everything was stacked. I'm like, oh my god, I love how everything is so nice and neatly. I was in heaven upstairs in that storage area. I loved it. Everything was
I
like
can see that, yeah.
Everything was mint and boxed.
That's true.
Everything was in. They were stacked in tall stacks, and it was beautiful. But there was a time they decided to try me out on the floor.
Oh no!
right?
Now, I was very helpful when someone said, "Hey, can you
Go
tell
to
me where
go to the attic.
no, I was great in the storage area. In the storage
Sure,
area.
yeah.
Toys
No,
R
I
Us.
can- I get it.
So here's what was happening. There was a district manager that was coming out to visit all the Toys R Us's. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so what it does, a district manager comes out. He meets with the manager, and they basically walk the floor. Okay. So wouldn't you know? My supervisor comes to me and goes, "Okay, Larry, the district manager's coming. So here is one aisle. And I go, "Oh, the action figure aisle. Yeah, Larry, you get to straighten up that one." I'm all, "Oh, this is great.
This is like the plot of a Gomer Pyle episode.
this is guys, I will never forget this. I was so excited. I was so happy. Okay, and apparently it was a slow day. All right.
Okay.
So my supervisor says, "Okay, Larry, you gotta, things are like taken off the pegs. You gotta put them back up and straighten it." And I go, "Oh man, I got it, buddy. I got it. This is mine. This is my aisle." So he goes away, and he left me alone for about an hour and a half.
Right.
Then I hear on the loudspeaker that district manager's here. District manager's here. Everyone get prepared. Well, I wasn't quite done with my aisle yet, and what I had done is I had the brilliant idea that, what I'm going to do is all the stuff that was loose, I'm going to put it in the floor. And I'm going to pull it all out, all into the floor, and I'm going to arrange everything all alphabetically and stuff. So what happens is I've got a ton of toys, just piles and piles of toys, all loose, mountain stuff, going all the way down the length of the aisle, and I'm moving one and two, and I hear that the district manager's here. All of a sudden, the manager walks by, and I hear in my ear,
I hope everything's.
The district manager is saying to my managers as he's about to walk. I hear them down another corridor, the aisle. Like what we like to do is we like to make sure that everything is up off the floor and on the pegs, and right at that moment they walked and took a look at my aisle.
That's like a sitcom.
And they
scene.
both stopped dead in their tracks. And it was dead silent. And it was priceless because I turn and I look at them both. They see me all the way at the end, and I got my hands full of toys. It's surrounded by a giant pile of toys, and they look at me for a split second. And then the district manager turns back to the manager, like, "We can't have this." Is basically what he said. And again, my manager.
If he had just come a little bit later,
my manager kind of chuckled, and then they passed me,
Right.
and I felt so bad. And then all of a sudden, my supervisor came out and goes, "Oh my God, Larry, what did you do?" I go, "Look, I'm putting things back on the shelves. I'm putting it all in order." And once I thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be fired or whatever." No. The manager came and he actually laughed. He thought it was funny. He said, "Oh my gosh, Larry, your timing was amazing."
Right.
And he's like, to the manager, he didn't care. He knew that I was trying to make things, get things straight.
Yeah,
but
it's not a nuclear facility.
No,
Toys R Us.
no. But I will say this: that was the last time I was allowed out on the floor of Toys R Us.
No one can
is
blame
classic.
you. But that's great. You know what?
They kept me in the
attic.
Yes.
If that story was told by anyone else, I would think they were pulling my leg. But
No, it's true. That's true.
great. Although I have to say, if there was an aisle in Toys R Us that just had toys just stacked in a mountain, in the middle, I would be kind of loving that.
Yeah.
I would just
Really.
Well, do you remember years later? I mean, KB, they had giant buckets, huge buckets. They would just throw toys in it.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I remember KB was actually very disorganized. Most
They
of the
were.
time.
It was
like
always-
like a hurricane that came through.
Oh,
there.
no,
yeah.
Well,
totally.
nothing is worse than Ross, right?
Oh,
Oh
Ross.
yeah,
Ross?
yeah,
Great, yeah.
that's true.
Because
Yeah.
Ross, when you go into Ross, like you go there even like in the beginning of the day, and it looks like a riot happened. Like,
Yeah, a clothes riot.
yeah, no, but it's crazy because there's stuff everywhere, and like the toy section, there's stuff on the ground, there's stuff. Toys are in other aisles, they're
Yeah,
ripped
yeah.
open, and I'm amazed that place stays open. I wonder if that's some sort of weird marketing strategy of like, they'll think that they're
Like
finding-
psychologically, you think you'd be able to find something, some rare item amidst all the clutter. Or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
you know?
Solomon's Mines.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know, but it's always
Yeah.
shocked me, and it's in every store too.
All right. Well, there is a tail-ordered adventure of. I mean,
That's-
I have others,
that's
but there's
hilarious,
one.
'cause
There's
that
one.
was-
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's
well,
very
now
good.
I just want to. This is not an adventure necessarily. It's an adventure in my thoughts, my opinions, my neuroses, how I go about picking out something that I like. And so now we're all collectors here. And now we know, I can understand. We joke, Larry and I, we all joke about the idea of keeping something mint in package.
I'm not joking.
Well, no, I joke. But I understand the thought process of why you would want to keep something mint in package.
Sure.
It stays nice. You don't lose any of the accessories. If you wanted to resell it, you can resell it for more. I get it. I totally get it. But here's the thing that I do, and I'll bet you guys do this too. You go to an aisle, you find your toy, and there's 6 of them. Mm-hmm. And I'll bet every single one of you looks at all 6 of them and tries to find the best possible paint job.
I do. Yep. And even at conventions when you're looking for stuff,
And I've been with people, and I'll be doing that, and they're like, "What are you doing?" They're all the same. No, they're not all the same. They are. The closer you look, an eyebrow isn't completely painted in.
I'll go a step further. I'll look at the actual packaging. And we talked about this too. When I
right.
No, but it's like
some have a ding, right?
No, or if you had a figure on a card, and sometimes is it put on a peg hole? On a peg
still
stand,
has the
right. Is it punched or unpunched? So for listeners who don't know, if you have an action figure on a card, an actual card, like the early Star Wars figures, if the card is placed on a peg, there's a little hole that it's kind of there's a little indent that so the little piece of cardboard can come out. So if that's out, that's punched.
Right.
If it's still there, it's unpunched.
So is it really genuinely worth more if it's unpunched?
It is.
It depends.
Dude.
Is it an age thing though? Like is it?
No. It has nothing to do with age. It's like you can still find action figures like the reaction figures. You can find them at some toy stores which don't actually put them on a peg. They're actually kind of standing up in a box or something like that. And the little punch hole, it's unpunched.
But those aren't worth that much.
No. Now I use the reaction. Those are things from within the past 5 years. But like
Older
for a
stuff.
classic Star Wars figure, I'm saying a classic Star Wars figure, or let's say a He-Man or something of that nature. If it is punched, everyone wants the figure and you want it in the package. But if it's in an unpunched card, that's the ultimate.
So let me ask, in addition to that though.
But Star Wars, I just want to say, is a kind of a different category altogether because everything involved with Star Wars, especially classic Star Wars, it's like baseball cards.
Yeah.
It's like something is dinged in the edge that nobody else would notice. A hardcore collector notices that.
Like I sold, I had a few, well actually more than a few, but I sold a few. And I had, and the collectors out there, like me, are very, very particular about, and my description had to be incredibly detailed about. Does it have a ding? Is it also another thing is has it yellowed over time? Not the figure, but the actual the blister. It's called the blister pack or bubble.
Right.
Has it yellowed over time? Sometimes that'll happen due to heat or age.
What about if you have like a really particularly older figure, like from the 70s or something, sometimes you'll have the original price tag from like a Target or some like little store.
The price tag, no,
because I find that interesting though. If you say, oh my god, this was like $1.98 back in the 70s, I just paid $60 for it.
I have a bunch of stuff from from actually 70s and the 80s that still have Jeffrey's Toys. Do you remember Jeffrey's Toys, Matt, in San Francisco?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
but that's kind of a cool nostalgic thing.
Yeah,
more than just a value.
Having a price tag doesn't do anything.
Not for value.
Sometimes they put the price tag like right in the middle of the box.
Oh yeah,
and that bothers me.
That's true.
Or another thing is like a few of mine had. It was, let's say, $2.97, then another sticker marked down to $2.36, marked down, and there I had like 4
you can
or
have
5,
the history,
and then you have it's a red sticker, and so it's like all these stickers, and I hate. Oh, yeah.
This toy will explode if you don't buy it.
Do you want to know something really funny? I just sold an action figure from 1979. These are the Lord of the Rings figures. Do you remember these?
Oh, yeah, sure.
This is
Those
from
are
the
great
Ralph,
figures.
the Ralph
from
Bakshi,
really?
Those figures.
Wow. I didn't even know they made figures.
Yeah, I had the whole set.
Some of those are pretty valuable right now.
Yeah, and so I had those with the card, and the price tag was still on. And I'll just give you an example. My Frodo I purchased for $1, and it has it listed from Long's Drugs. Has the price tag.
Gosh.
He sold for $200.
Holy
Sweet.
shit.
Now it's not like, hey, I was holding it on to, I'm kind of going through some stuff, and it's like I really like those, but I'm trying to focus on some other stuff.
Sure.
My robots and other things. And
are those good? Are those kind of cool figures, or are they just?
They're beautiful.
Really?
They're
Wow, I never
they're
knew they put them
beautifully.
out.
I'll show you my pictures.
Wow.
Can I tell you? I would like to share a little story about the paint job thing.
Yeah.
So Carrie and I are at Paris Disneyland. And now, as we know, France is a very different place, very different attitudes. So we go to the gift shop, and there's this beautiful little, not too little, maybe I want to say 8 inches, figurine of Jessica Rabbit. And I'm like, that's what I want. But they only had one out, which was the display one. So the rest of the stock was you had to go and ask for it behind the counter. And so the salesperson would go rummage through, find them, brings me one, and I look at it, and I'm like, I don't know. So I ask her to get 2 more. And so she brings 2 more, thinking, I guess, that I'm going to buy all 3.
All 3, yeah.
But I'm looking at them all and inspecting them. And I think I even asked her for 1 more. And I probably ended up getting the first one that she got me. But she looked at me like I was the village idiot. Like I was just fresh from the lunatic asylum. Just like, she goes, and she said, dude, they're all the same. I go,
No.
And she just glared at me. And I understand, too, that now I'm actually making her do her job. And
You know what I would have done? You know what I would have done? I would have looked at her when she said, oh, they're all the same. I would have said, oh, really? Oh, really?
Clown.
They're all this. No, I want to be nice. They're all the same. Let's look at them together. Let's look.
I'm sure she would have taken that
And she
very
would say,
well.
no, I do not have time. And you said, no, I'd like you to
Sacre
look at
bleu.
this.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, do you see this? Oh, let's look at the lips. And, oh, there's paint missing on this
Security.
one. And this one.
Yeah.
And do those look the same? No, they're not the same.
yeah. And by the way, you're welcome for helping you out.
In World War II. Yeah. Not to be a dick,
God.
but
Yeah.
I hate don't pull that shit with me. Don't pull that.
Well,
they're
it's
all
hard,
the
though,
same.
But it's hard though. Like if you did that here, you could explain yourself a little better.
Oh, I think
Right.
people know.
But I think with the French, it was a little more like, why? Just go and die.
You
Go and
stupid
die.
American.
Yeah. I piss on you, Jessica.
Fart in your general direction.
Look, I don't mean to make fun of French people by any
I'm
means.
just making fun of this French.
one specific woman.
because they're wonderful people and it's a wonderful
had a really
country.
good time in
Yeah,
France,
I bet
actually.
you did.
It was. We went to London, Amsterdam, and France, and Paris, and Amsterdam was the worst. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it was terrible.
I thought you would have. I thought
was
that would have
horrible.
been.
Their Jessica Rabbit figures are shit.
Now, if I remember correctly, from a previous episode, you were like, Mr. Drug Guy. So isn't that like the happening?
that's me, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Isn't this place like?
That's what I did.
Hey,
I got off.
it's
We got
drug
off the train.
capital. Hey,
We got off the train. I was like, "Hey, man,
Cloud of smoke.
yeah, this place is out of sight."
So was it like people were too like, hey,
They were really mean.
They were mean.
They were really
Wow,
how you
really?
always hear people talk about France
Yeah.
was
Right.
the reality in Amsterdam. Everybody was mean.
Wow.
There were so many people, like in a restaurant, we'd ask for something else and they'd glare at us. I mean, just everywhere
Wow.
we went, it was terrible. We got on this little boat ride.
Yeah.
But
And they
if we
said-
have any listeners from Amsterdam,
We
please
love you.
still
Yeah,
keep
no.
listening.
I'm just saying that that's what happened to us. And
Right,
do
right.
I think that that's what all Amsterdam people, actually the people that we met inside, the pot bars, they were cool.
Oh yeah. Well,
They were great.
hey.
Right.
Well, there
Yeah.
you go.
And the guy that was our waiter at the Indian restaurant was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But when we went to the liquor store, and there's been some kind of theories about what the problem was. I think we were staying a little bit too close to the red light district, so they maybe thought we were on some weird sex drug holiday, and we're like, no, only drug. Only drug.
well, when I see you and your wife, my
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
my
we're like,
first
yeah.
thought is, hey,
Yeah, the couple out for the
swingers.
sex holiday.
Yeah.
But it was not as nice as we were expecting. Whereas France, everybody was great to us.
But you ended up getting the Jessica Rabbit,
except for that one woman.
Yeah.
Right.
in
Okay.
Paris
Well,
Disneyland.
Well, look, it's
And it wasn't like she just gave me. It was more on me actually, because I was doing something that just was inexplicable to her. She didn't like, well, what is this? I don't get this. And I'll bet you most people that go in that place are like, here, this is for my kid. I'm taking it back.
Yeah. Well, so to answer your question, yes, I do look at all. If there is like a figure that I'm looking for,
Sure,
and there's
I do
several
too.
of them, I will look through to try and find the best painted one or the perfect one to make sure the
Absolutely.
eyebrows or whatever is right, and the shape of the actual card. When James and I we talked about this when we went to Comic-Con, was a couple years ago. I was all freaking out about the exterior box of the Godzilla.
That's
the
right.
Konami
Yes,
box.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Cool.
Well, you're investing money after all. I mean, it's still money.
Yeah, but
you're spending it.
yeah, but
so
these
you might as well
clowns-
get the
but
exact
but
perfect.
that's the part of Nerdland is that to us that's what the way others might buy some other kind of collectibles, whatever it is, like you said, a baseball card or whatever it is. But to us,
really?
this is important.
Really, Sean? Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's funny because if I remember correctly, when I brought up the exterior box of the Godzilla thing, you're all like, "Oh, Larry, that's an outside cardboard
Well,
box."
that is
and then
nuts.
and then,
Yeah.
and then you start to
That's
go, "Well, what
crazy.
about the truck that it came in? What if it had a dent in
that
it,
was
Larry?"
me.
I mean,
That was me.
no,
I
but
said
yeah,
that.
but he was going off in the box.
But I still do, even though I take stuff out of the boxes, I still look carefully at the figures because it's true. Like the clothing could be off, or like you know, like you said,
Yeah.
the eyes may not be right. I still look at that.
But I want my box to be in great shape.
I understand. That's the other level.
You don't want your box to be in good shape?
Yeah, like it
Do you throw your boxes away?
No, I don't actually. Actually, I have a tower. I have a mountain of boxes. Gina and I have in our garage. If you open our garage door, look, it's like a mountain of toy boxes. It's kind of its own little art piece.
Do you know? I have never been in your garage.
You got to come over.
You don't know what you're missing, friend.
Yeah.
No, have you been in there?
I have not.
Especially nowadays,
Matt, have you been in his garage?
Oh, I've seen his garage.
because
His
nowadays,
garage is not to be beat.
especially nowadays, with the way they make figures for collectors, so the boxes are amazing, and now you can get the boxes where you can take the figure out easily without
Yes.
destroying the box. So yeah, we
Yes.
have lots of boxes that we pile up and
But that'll
display.
change too. When you'll get to a place where I just went to my storage space, which that's a whole nother adventure.
That's another
Sure,
show.
sure.
That's another adventure. 'Cause I know
Monster Party
James,
storage space.
James, you just did the switching out of the storage space.
I did,
right?
yeah.
Yeah?
No, we have
You
to save
switched
this.
out?
We have to save this for our storage episode.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Well, what did you do? What did you do now?
Well, my original storage
What are you, Charlie Callis?
my original
My original storage.
my original storage that I was renting, they shortened the hours and they raised the rent at the same time. So I said, screw that, I'm finding another storage unit. And I did, and I moved everything. And it was actually great fun because I saw stuff. I was opening bins and boxes and was like, wow, I thought I sold this on eBay years ago. I still have it. That's cool.
Right.
I can sell it now.
Right.
Or I
Wait,
can
whoa.
in some cases I can give it to Larry.
Yay! Isn't that a great feeling when you forget about
Wait a minute,
something?
why
Yeah.
Larry?
No, well, it's 'cause
Yeah, isn't it a great feeling to give things to Larry?
it is a great thing to give things to Larry, but I thought my
Better
mind
be
was
the
like,
right thing, though.
I thought my mind was like a steel trap. I knew of everything.
No,
And
I forgot.
and
It's been in there for years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
inventory is fun. You know, you look at stuff and then you bring it out and you repackage it, put it in new storage bins. I mean, it's actually a lot of fun.
How about this, though? Because there's the other side of that, which is you're going through your storage stuff, you want to pare it down or you want to sell stuff or whatever, and you come upon those things, you go, why did I even buy this in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because years later, you're not in the same space that you were when you originally bought it.
But let me add to that, which is, have you ever, and I'm sure you have, but you're at a place and there's not a lot of great stuff, but there's one thing that's kind of cool, and you buy that. And you buy it just to satisfy that collecting Jones.
That completist.
yeah.
in you.
Or it's just that thing that you're like, I want to get something.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I want
Right.
to pulse. I want to have the visceral fun of
Yeah.
for
Right.
James and I
came all
pulling
the-
it out of the package and
I came all the way to this convention. Damn it, I'm buying
I'm gonna
something.
get
I don't give a
something.
shit what it is.
Right. Right.
And then all that stuff winds up in that storage
Right.
space, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah. And then I either sell it or give it away, or some stuff I just put on the street. You know that?
You put it on the street?
Like what?
What do you mean? You put
Action
it on the
figures
street?
I don't want.
Wow.
Yeah,
You just put it on the street. A lone little action figure in his little package.
do you know how long those action figures last on the street? Seconds. I come
I'm
back
sure.
out. I'll put a box out, and I'll put a little sign that says "Free cool stuff."
Well, like
people will come up.
Wait, whoa! What kind of action figures are we talking about?
I don't know. Some older,
Lord of the Rings.
all covered in blood.
No, it's like Robin Hood figures or Waterworld.
Dick Tracy figures.
A lot of like old, like the older Toy Biz Marvel figures that are like, they're all right. But,
Sure.
but if you try to sell any of that shit, you don't try to sell that
the
stuff.
trouble of going to put it on posting
eBay,
it. Yeah.
And then
There's time involved.
You can go to a thrift store though too. But I guess it's the same
this is
thing.
cutting out the middleman.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
That's
going
true.
right to the people.
Right, that's true.
And so, sometimes I'll do that. I'll just put a nice little box out, and it's fun because there was another guy in my neighborhood who put all this stuff on the street, and it was like great books, and it was like he was like one of us. It was like David Scowl, the horror show,
Yes.
and a bunch of those little mini Four Horsemen outer spacemen figures out of the package.
Wow.
But they were like 3 of them. They're just hanging just right on the street.
Probably not with all their pieces though.
They were. One didn't have a piece, but everything else was complete. And it made me think like, wow, that's fun. Maybe I could do that to somebody else. They could, they're walking around the corner and there's like this little treasure trove.
I gotta start walking around this neighborhood more.
You do. No, I do it pretty regularly. Just
Really?
to get it out. Get the shit out of the house.
It's not a bad idea.
Sometimes getting rid of stuff is just as hard as picking it up to begin with. To find
Sometimes
a place,
harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that the end of the show?
Well, this has been great.
I keep
go
thinking you're
on
going
and
to
on.
elaborate, but
Well,
okay, somebody. I'll keep it going.
No, I'll keep it going. I'm ready to go.
All right, you said you had all kinds of stuff.
I do.
I didn't want to monopolize this thing. But go ahead.
All right. I have something something from my childhood that is just an experience I had, which is very memorable to me and was very kind of cool. Growing up in the 70s, of course, huge Planet of the Apes fan, right? I'd seen the movies, but in the mid 70s when the TV show came out, at the time, like, oh my God, Planet of the Apes on TV every week. That's awesome. It was the greatest thing. I didn't care if it was Planet of the Apes, and it was great. And I don't know like how it was. It probably maybe I got wind of the idea that the show was going to be canceled. Probably my mom read in the TV guide or something that ratings weren't good or whatever.
was it? I forget how many seasons did it have.
I think it was
my God,
one or
barely
two.
one.
Just
Oh,
the
it
one
was-
season.
Okay, yeah,
So,
it did
yeah,
have the
There were
one.
like 16 episodes or
Yeah,
something. It was not,
yeah. So when I found this out, like it freaked me out. Like, what is the world insane? How can they be, getting rid of Planet of the Apes on TV? So I actually wrote a letter. I'm not like my mom. Find out what to write to. So I wrote this letter. I don't have the letter, obviously, but I had written something like,
Dear Mr. Ape.
yeah, dear lawgiver. It was like, I heard that the TV show might be canceled, and that's what I'm saying. I'm a big Planet of the Apes fan, and I remember specifically telling my mom, like, because I had action figures and posters or whatever. I remember saying, oh yeah, because I had this trash can. I had this metal Planet of the Apes trash can.
Oh.
It's kind of like oval shaped. I rember.
Yeah.
I remember specifically being in a department store and seeing that. I'm like, I want that. So I remember I made sure my mom in the letter saying, and make sure you write down that I even have a Planet of the Apes trash can. That'll convince them to keep the show in the air. So anyway, I wrote this letter, and then I got a letter back from 20th Century Fox, which I still have the letter.
Dear loser.
No, but so I have the letter.
Oh, that's great,
and
Sean.
this is what it was. This is November. His date is November 8th, 1974. So I was 10 years old when they so
Great.
and it's from 20th Century Fox Television, and this is what it says: Dear Sean, thank you for your recent letter in regards to Planet of the Apes and for watching the show. However, there has been no definite word as to the show being taken off the air. We all hope that it won't be. The final word comes from the CBS television network. I am enclosing a copy of a Planet of the Apes poster and some black and white photos. I hope you like them.
Hey.
Again, thank you for watching the show and being such a great fan of Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that's so
And it was so
cool.
nice. And
Really
like
cool.
a black and white.
Do you still have
Do you
the
still
photos?
have those?
I don't think I have them anymore.
What did you do with them?
You burned them, didn't you?
No,
Like you
I don't know.
burned
They might be
everything as a
somewhere.
kid.
I wouldn't burn photos, but I don't
you're
know.
Mr. Pyro.
But
You-
I remember though,
Yeah, he's Mr. Pyro.
I taped up the photos alongside my bed for
Yeah.
a long time. So it was like so it was great. And then they canceled the show. But
and then you lit your
still-
house on fire.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
You gotta
Yeah.
But
Teaches me, if I could go back in time, I'd write more letters.
But the fact that like I don't know, like again, I don't know where like my mom got the address, but the fact that and this is from somebody named Carol Henderson. It doesn't even say what like department she's in, but it was like it's a typed up letter, and it's directly to me. I mean, how awesome
Carol,
is that?
if some loser kid writes about the Planet of the Apes, just send him some
that's like the producer.
photos.
That's like the Hollywood producer.
Yeah, they're all the
voice.
same guy in
Okay.
every place.
Okay, but so that was really awesome though. It was like something that I still have the actual letter.
Maybe we can reach out to her.
Let's get her on the show.
Sure,
She's got to be what, in her 80s now or something like that?
200 by now.
Yeah, Sean, I remember that letter.
Yeah.
It's funny though, like especially adding a detail like that about the trash can that you think will somehow
like
change.
that-
Now that makes sense for a kid.
Yeah, because I thought, I'll just write to the studio and to say that they have to keep the show in the air. That'll work.
Do you
know,
still have that garbage can?
No,
No.
Sean, what did you?
He melted it.
Sean,
Sean, I have a huge amount of toys and
Do you
stuff
have a trash can collection?
He
No. When I was the same 10, 9, 8, I still have all these
I know, I'm
toys.
sure you do.
My
I have
rubber
a few
skeleton.
things,
And
but
John
not-
melted that trash can into bullets that he could shoot into the photos.
Yes, exactly.
I can't believe you don't have those
There's
photos
a lot of stuff
anymore.
I don't have. I may have the photos. I don't know.
look,
I mean,
yeah.
I got a
Very-
Frankenstein photo. I when I was 9. I put it in a frame. I was so
but Larry,
I
I
have
have this letter. I have the physical
All right, well,
letter.
that's
stuff,
something.
and that's cool.
But that's the other thing too.
It's like-
That's
is that-
something.
Is that we got to give some credit for a kid being a kid because you are you're Felix Unger in a lot of ways. Yes, you are. First of all, the idea that you had to me, the idea I get a picture and I go to my mom, I need a frame. They just look at me weird, like what do you want? What a frame?
Well, see, here's
I might as well have asked for a cougaran.
Well, the funny thing is because I came from a large family, my parents had all
lots of
kinds.
frames.
They did. One would fall off the wall and stuff, and so I basically took one of my brothers off the wall or something and
that's
used that
good.
frame,
I like that.
and no one noticed, because
that's
there's so
great.
many kids up on the wall. So
right.
But yeah, I mean, you had a different kids like Sean and I, we would take
Destroy.
those toys-
Yes.
No, we would
You
play
did
with them.
light them
until
on fire.
But we would play with them, though.
But not
But we-
always light them on fire.
No,
Look,
sometimes.
sometimes. But then you'd go and you'd play with them in the dirt.
Yeah, no,
Because-
I mean, I would take the G.I. Joe and roll them around the grass and
They
you
wear out
played with
because
them.
they're played.
They're
Okay.
action
now,
figures.
this may freak you guys out, but believe it or not, I did play with some toys in the mud.
Well, like which ones?
Well, that's where
The special mud
toys you
figures.
made out of mud.
no, kind of. You guys remember the prehistoric scenes?
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, those are great. This is from
Snap Together.
They're from Aurora.
Yeah, they're
who did the
awesome.
monster figures. But see, the difference is the monsters you had to glue together.
Right.
At least the glow in the dark ones, the ones, but the prehistoric ones, those were snapped together,
Which was awesome.
and they're made of plastic. I mean,
Right,
like a hard
right.
plastic. And out in the backyard at our house, there's a big central area that my dad, they put cement around this triangular area or rectangular area, and my
Is it
dad
rectangular
it was rectangular, and the grass never really grew. I think my parents tried to do like tomatoes, it didn't really work. And
So it was a good play area.
It turned into a big pile of mud. And I remember between my brothers and I, we had the Tyrannosaurus Rex or the Allosaurus and the cavemen, and we basically made our own prehistoric
It's
scene
like a tar
out in the
pit?
mud.
It's like a tar pit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We
Yeah.
didn't, we
So
didn't,
how old are you?
we didn't have the actual model of the tar pit. We
Right,
made
right.
our own
That's
tar
cool.
pits
That's
out
cool.
of
It's
basically
called mud.
Yes,
Right.
it was called mud. So I did.
That's
So
cool.
contrary to popular belief here amongst my Monster Party co-hosts, I did play with some figures in the
that's
mud.
cool. That's
the thing
cool.
is,
How old were you?
I was
23.
like, no, 8, 9, 10, and I will say this: that the benefit was when you're done playing. And actually, we left them out there in the rain too, but they were plastic.
Yeah,
so
so they were pretty
we
durable.
hosed them off, and I took a toothbrush and
I knew. I was waiting. I was waiting for that
because
one
here's
detail of the story.
Yeah, because the funny thing about the toothbrush, it's like, first of all,
I never thought about that. I mean, nowadays I would think about that, but as a kid, I never would think to use a toothbrush to
it's
clean.
like, come on, it's
That's a great idea.
Yeah, what else would you use? I mean, you have
If it got too dirty, I would just burn
would
it.
just-
the nooks
yeah.
and crannies. You use a toothbrush, but you want to make sure
5 fire
you
gets it
don't
really clean.
Yes. Oh, yes, and it melts, doesn't it, Sean?
Yeah, it makes it sterile too.
Yes.
So I just want to let you know.
That's okay.
Did you
That's
ever play
cool.
with stuff in the mud?
No, but those G.I. Joe action figures.
Wait a minute, no?
Not in the mud.
Okay,
Not so
dirt.
much. No, I made
Sand.
I played with dirt. I made mud pies and stuff.
Right.
But I don't remember ever putting toys in them.
Okay.
But the 12-inch G.I. Joe Adventure Team, those were rugged. I used to throw
me
I threw
too.
those off the roof.
Yes, me too.
Because
All right,
those things
that's
could
pretty good.
withstand anything.
Oh my gosh! But we would go a step further. We would take a G.I. Joe, get into like some building 10 stories up, and we would
10 stories.
within the would open it because those G.I. Joes had
Yes.
button shirts.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
So you unbutton the shirt, and within the shirt we took a little plastic baggie, filled it with colored red water, and put it put it inside the jacket. So when he fell, if he fell right, he would hit the pavement and splatter blood.
Wow.
And it was awesome.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I have to say.
It really were. It was like
Wow,
so his
it's a-
guts would
wow.
splatter out.
Did you invent the squib?
Maybe, yeah.
I think you might have.
So
Okay.
that was fun. And of course, the
pretty
G.I.
great.
Joe didn't
That's
last
pretty
after a
great.
while.
Okay, now I think I mentioned this on another show, but since
And then
you're-
we burned them.
yeah, you burned them. Okay. Okay. Now, we talked about, I think I mentioned this on another show, but I will say, because you brought up putting the blood and stuff. So
Right.
when we played Jaws,
Right.
okay, so I had a bunch of rubber sharks, and I love my rubber sharks.
Who doesn't?
And what we would do is, we didn't have one of those big doughboy pools. We had one of those plastic pools that you
Sure.
get at Toys R Us. It has a little slide. But
in the shape of like a turtle or something.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
You
So
got
it
a
was-
store-bought pool, did you?
yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
did. But it wasn't just for me. It's for all the kids, But anyway, so what we did is we had a big Fisher-Price boat, and we had some of the Mego figures, and I took my
Right.
rubber sharks, went into the kitchen, took a big bottle of ketchup,
Right.
and poured like half of it into the belly of the shark.
Okay.
And so I brought the shark out into the water. My brother's watching me, and we had the little Mego guy fall, and I took the shark and kind of ate him, and then I squeezed the shark, and I swear to God,
That's
it looked like
cool.
all this blood went
That's a good idea.
out into the water, and it was glorious. It was amazing. And I'm like, this is better than Jaws.
Did you have a little
wish I-
tiny license plate in there too? And
No, we didn't do that. The problem was you could only do it so many times because
Right,
then
right.
the water just got
Of course.
disgusting.
Right.
Yeah,
And my
I would
mom
say the
Cool, though.
first
That's
time.
inventive.
my
though.
mom would get upset because A, where's all the ketchup?
Yeah, right.
And B, what's all this crap in the pool? So
Right.
we could only do it a few times.
That's pretty good, though. I like that.
Now,
And by the way, I still have those rubber sharks.
Wow.
I'll save them for our
you
Jaws
still have
show.
the ketchup?
No, the sharks are, they've been cleaned out.
I'm sure.
Hot
I believe
water,
me.
soap,
I trust you. And a
Toothbrush?
yeah.
Toothbrush.
toothbrush.
Okay, that's
And
good,
I mean,
yeah.
no, I'm not kidding. I just stick the toothbrush in
No,
it.
that's a
and
great idea.
scrape
Did
it.
you guys ever do stuff with dummies?
Dummies.
Because that was my favorite
Ventriloquist
thing.
dummies?
No, like a dummy that you would make.
Like the Willy
we would
Talk
make-
ventriloquist?
No. Like a dummy. Like
Oh,
you would,
like a life-size-
I would take a bunch of
No.
old clothes, like some jeans and some old shoes that I had and a shirt.
Uh-huh.
And what I would do is I would stuff them all with like newspaper and everything,
Uh-huh.
and I'd sew all the pieces together.
Whoa.
Wow,
And then
you
I-
sewed them.
Yeah, like I just but like real amateur,
Sure.
but with like this big, tough, really strong string. And I'd make a human-sized looking dummy.
What did you use for the face, though?
For the head, I forget what I was, like a pillow.
Okay.
And
You use someone's actual skin for their face.
my own, yes. I grafted it on. But I'd make these things, and I'd maybe put like a monster mask or something, or some kind of mask over
Right.
the makeshift head that I made. And then I would use this, and I would use it for, any kind of like for Halloween. And we would do gags. Like we would do this thing like, a car would be driving by and we just chuck this thing off the roof.
Wow.
And people would freak the fuck out and yell at us. And,
see,
but this
you can only
but
do
this
that once, though,
but
then
this
you have to run
this is
away.
this was the best one, though. This was my favorite. And I might have even discussed this. You guys can tell me. But the really nice gag that I came up with was I took the dummy and I put it on my bicycle. and I had it, and I put a helmet on it, and I had it so like I had the thing ready to launch. And you know
Right.
how like you push a bicycle, and if you get it going straight for a little while,
Yeah.
it'll kind of balance and then finally just fall over.
Yes.
And so I had this thing ready. A car drives by, and I just chuck this thing out in the street, and you just see this thing go and fall down the street, and the arms and legs fly up everywhere, and that car goes. And we run up into the hill that's above the street, and this goes like,
gosh!
You hear this voice from the street. You little bastards! You think this is funny?
Wow.
You know, you could really get somebody hurt. And we're because we're little jerks.
Yeah, you know the lesson you can learn from this. See, I never did anything like that. You were a bad kid.
It was a great gag.
You were great gag. You could have gotten someone killed. No.
We just
you were a mischievous
we
kid.
scared him, and that's what he was. Mad at.
Okay.
We
okay.
He deserved it.
He kind of did. He kind of had it coming.
No, I never did anything quite.
But dummies
so...
are fun. Until I brought one to school. I brought one to school.
You brought a dummy to school?
Yeah, and my school was kind of tough, and I was in like elementary school. And I bring this dummy, and I put a Frankenstein. It was like a Dayglow kind of Frankenstein, Ben Cooper-ish mask.
Right.
And I put it on this thing, and I bring it. I brought it on the school bus, and I've got my arm around it on the school bus, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" And then I bring it into school, and the really mean kids in my school just tore this fucking thing apart.
Oh, jeez.
I managed to save the mask, I think.
Okay, now let me ask you something here. Now, wouldn't you know that if you bring this to school,
I should have.
So you knew that the bullies were gonna like mess it up.
It's my ego. My ego got in the way because my ego said,
This is so cool.
This is so cool
Yeah.
because I thought it was really cool, and
Right.
I thought, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna break the school, and everyone will go, "He's great.
Right.
He's so cool.
He can make dummies.
He made a Frankenstein dummy." And the dummy was me.
See, that would shatter me. I'd be shattered.
Well, no, because you probably wouldn't have done that in the first place,
no,
though. You wouldn't have
I
brought,
went to private school. I remember the time we had to make a life-size saint. Your saint, your patron saint, and out of paper mache.
And yours was like the saint of the Black Lagoon.
or Roger Moore
with all that Catholic, all that Catholic upbringing, Sean. Yes, exactly. The Black Lagoon saint. No,
It should have been that. That'd been cool,
it was
though.
Saint Lawrence.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
He's
hey.
the saint of what is he?
Well, it's
Save that for our saint episode.
yeah.
No,
should
I
I
want-
say
what
that?
is he
Should I
this-
save that for our more religious episode
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
like
What is
that?
he the saint of, though?
Well, see, here's the thing. It's not that. It's like.
So he's not really.
Many of these saints, they all get, they all became martyrs. Like many of them became martyrs, and some saints actually went out of their way. Hey, I want to become a martyr, so I'll be remembered.
He was a
And-
saint of quality footwear.
No.
Nice,
Saint Lawrence.
nice.
He was the guy who, he was persecuted. Okay, don't teach these Jesus teachings, and so we're going to throw you on a grill. So they had a giant grill.
Whoa.
They throw Saint Lawrence on.
He
So he's
told me about this.
I did. It's,
Wow.
And when he's done cooking, they're there you are, Mr. Lawrence. He goes, oh yeah, well, throw me on the other side. And so they
Oh, you did
threw him
tell
on
me
the
this
other
story,
side.
yeah.
And so he died.
It's a great story.
Well,
Wow.
so I debated on whether or not to put actual grill marks on my saint face because
should've.
I couldn't
You so
figure
should've.
out. I couldn't figure out why all the kids in the class. I'm like, well, why are you? I mean, ours
You
was a
would've gotten
martyr.
so much trouble. For
No,
that.
well, exactly, and then
Right,
it
right.
was a good thing I didn't do Saint Andrew, who was crucified on an X instead of a cross, and I was thinking about doing that, but that wouldn't fly at the school either. So
I
Wow.
don't think that would have worked.
Yeah,
but,
well.
but that's great.
good
No,
times,
Yeah,
good times. Yeah.
James,
Dummies are fun.
what do you got?
Well, if we're telling kid stories,
Sure.
Please.
When I was a kid in elementary school, and I'm thinking second, third grade, I was always like the class artist, and I
Okay.
went to a school in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which was really small. There weren't too many kids in the class, and whenever I would draw something, all the kids would sort of gather around. And this was also about the time that they started playing matinees of Godzilla movies, and some of the first movies I ever saw were Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, and Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. And I was so inspired by those that I started doing, I had a homeroom teacher that encouraged my art. And he didn't care if I didn't pay attention in class. He gave me all this construction paper and let me do this mural. So I cut up,
Wow.
I made murals of like King Kong, Godzilla, Rodan, Ghidorah, Mothra. and it filled up the entire bulletin board. And I had carte blanche, and it was awesome.
Oh my God, James, that's so funny because I have a similar story.
Really?
When I was in, I don't know, like maybe 3rd or 4th grade, I of course loved dinosaurs, and one day I had some kind of dinosaur book and had like these full page colored art of like all the different dinosaurs, and so I did my own dinosaur drawings. All Tyrannosaurus, Brontosaurus, Ankylosaurus, all the different dinosaurs, and I kind of wrote their names and like a little bit of what they, the statistics of what they are and stuff. I remember I showed it to my teacher. I don't know what grade it was. It was a very early age. And she was so impressed by them that she made a little school project out of it. She like presented them to the class and said, okay, we're going to learn about dinosaurs today. And these are Sean's drawings. And she went through them all. And I think she made copies of all the drawings so everybody had them.
Wow.
It was just because I just done this for fun because I love dinosaurs. I wanted to show my teacher. But she made it a whole little school.
You altered the curriculum.
Yeah. It became the class of that day. It was like all
so
dinosaurs.
cool.
I have a very similar story as well.
Really? Awesome.
Because there was an imaginary animal contest.
Okay.
The whole class had to come up with their imaginary animal. And so, like this is a spider with fluffy legs like a kitten. And this is another one. This is a bumblebee with 2 heads and, whatever. And everybody did their drawings. Everything was very benign.
Right.
Mine was something that I threw together, a mishmash of everything I'd seen on every horror movie. And it was just this rampaging creature biting into cars, blood spurting. And luckily, the way that this contest was judged was by the class.
Ah.
So the class, I know what the punters want.
Yeah.
And so I won the contest. I think I even still...
You won the contest?
Yes. I think I even still have the badge that they gave me.
Wow.
Yeah. And so cut to like elementary school, like I want to say, I don't know, like the 2nd grade or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I did another drawing and they allowed me to do a mural in the cafeteria.
Wow.
And I did a mural because I was really into space and planets and I knew the names of them all. And so like, okay, go. And I did a mural on this pillar of the solar system with a spaceship flying through it.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
awesome.
wrote down the names of all the planets. And,
So that's the kind of thing like when
I got laid so much.
Okay, this is really nice that all 3 of you have these great stories about how, you were acknowledged and they thought, oh, your artwork is so great. And, there was another show that Matt said, Larry, tell us about your relationship with your brothers. And you just made me think of this horrible moment in my life.
Oh, good. Let's hear it.
I love dinosaurs too.
Right.
And this was in 1st grade.
Okay.
1st grade. And Sister Rosaline said, I want you kids to either draw a picture or make a clay figure of a dinosaur and bring it in. And we'll all take a look at it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. I love dinosaurs. So I get home and I go to my mom and I say, Mom, I need some clay. I want to make a dinosaur. I'm going to make something fierce. And so my mom got the clay that we had. And because I come from a large family, my parents had all kinds of Play-Doh, but it wasn't like all solid one color. It was like, when you break apart Play-Doh and it's all different colors, and she would just clamp it all together. So it's all different colors.
Like rainbow colors.
Yes, and it would look stupid. It was like red and white and blue and green Play-Doh all mixed together. And so my mom gives me this clay, and I go, Mom, I didn't say what the hell is this. I went, Mom, this isn't all one color. She goes, well, Larry, it's what we have. And so, all right, well, I'm going to take this funky looking clay and I'm going to make
it's Play-Doh.
Yes, and it's Play-Doh.
It smells great.
Play-Doh, not modeling clay. It's Play-Doh, which if you recall, because you can still get Play-Doh now, it's really hard to kind of mold and to keep its shape, okay?
Yeah, so, it's a little gritty.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm working. I want to make a fierce, ferocious Tyrannosaurus Rex. So I'm working on my clay thing, and I'm just kind of falling apart. One of my older brothers comes up and looks at my dinosaur. So he takes some clay, and he starts to model this amazing, beautiful, spectacular Brontosaurus. And it seems like it's simple, but his brontosaurus that he made had this perfect tail. He was perfectly shaped with this perfect head that curved, and it stayed in shape.
So what was the trick? Why was he able to make it?
I don't know what he did, but my Tyrannosaurus Rex sucked.
Oh.
And so I have it in a little box, and I think it's cool, whatever. And I try to put little teeth in it, and so I'm getting ready to take it to school. My mom goes, "Oh, Larry, why don't you take your brother's brontosaurus?" I went, "I don't want to take that." She goes, "Oh, no, it'll be really good." And so I reluctantly put the brontosaurus in there, and I take it to school, so time for show and tell dinosaurs, and Sister Rosaline takes out the brontosaurus and shows the class, "Oh my gosh, look at everybody! Look at this great brontosaurus that Larry brought in." I'm looking at him and go, "That's not my dinosaur. Mine is a Tyrannosaurus Rex." Well, guess what? My Tyrannosaurus Rex ended up sitting on my desk while the brontosaurus that my older brother made had a place of honor on Sister Rosaline's desk so the whole class could see it.
How much older was he than you?
He's 4 years older than me.
4 years older.
And you know what? I have not forgotten that.
But that's a lot older than you.
Yeah.
He stole
But
your thunder, yes.
Did teacher wasn't aware that it wasn't your...
You got the credit, right?
Well, that's the funny thing. It's a lie. It's a lie.
So?
I didn't say, "Yes, Sister Rosaline, I made that brontosaurus." No, I was bitter.
Oh.
I still hold on to that bitterness now.
I can tell.
Wow.
And the one person who won't seek therapy.
Yeah.
We got to bring Dr. Tom.
No,
We have
Dr.
to-
Tom. What did he do? Dr. Tom.
He helped a little.
did.
No,
For a
he
while.
didn't. No, he
Yeah.
didn't help. He
Yeah.
didn't
You should
help.
make a brontosaurus now, just for just as a therapeutic
Okay.
thing.
Here's the thing.
We'll film you
let me
making
tell
a
you.
brontosaurus now
Here's
and
the
post it.
These brothers that I have, they're all very talented, capable people, and this one in particular, I bet if I made my best dinosaur, he'd still make a better brontosaurus. But I will tell you this. He doesn't have any mint and package toys.
That's right.
And he's not a co-host on Monster Party.
Exactly.
Take that!
Exactly.
Ah!
Wow.
Came back
Oh
around.
my God.
Sorry, too much?
No.
much.
I learn more about my friends every day.
Listeners, it's been a rough day. It's
Okay,
been-
all right.
That's good.
I'm going to make you feel a little bit better. I think.
I don't know how.
Because
Did you have a bad experience?
well, I had a not a bad experience, but when I look back on it, it's bad because we would have these. I forget which class it was, but we got to do like real pottery making where they would fire it.
Yeah.
They would fire the
Oh, yes,
clay,
yes,
and then we could glaze it. And,
Yes.
And so I made a bunch of things. I made like a cup and a little tray and a
Switchblade.
And I made a switchblade. That would have been awesome. A clay switchblade. They should make them. But I made a dinosaur, and I
It's
don't
amazing
even,
how
what
that's
kind?
a common theme.
I don't even know.
You don't remember the kind of dinosaur?
Well, it looked
Come,
like
Matt.
it looked like
Come
kind of
on.
an aquatic.
Okay.
but it was
Plesiosaur.
It did not have a long neck.
A diplodocus?
Sure, whatever. For the story, yes.
It was Greek?
Just so we can get on with it.
I can't believe you don't know the name of the dinosaur.
But let's just call it shit. Because
There is no
it's
shit
still-
dinosaur.
Shitosaur.
There's no
No,
shit
it's a
dinosaur.
my dinosaur shit. I look back at this thing now. I see I discovered it. Along with the cups and everything. My mom has everything. My mom has
Right, that's- but
all
that's
the
cool
cups
that she
and
keeps all
it's
that.
great, but I look at this stuff and I go, look, I understand that I was young, but was I blind as well? Because they're just terrible.
Wait, whoa. How old were you?
I don't
3?
second no.
8?
A 3? They're living a 3-year-old around a kiln.
8?
Maybe. Something.
You were already on cocaine.
Look,
That's what it was.
Matt, this is the
Eating all that
dinosaur.
paste.
This is a dinosaur made out of special clay. It's a keeper. My stupid dinosaur is Play-Doh. Play-Doh.
Look,
It gets mold on it after a while.
You were working with the tools you had at the time.
Yeah,
I
right,
understand. Mine was sheer just lack of talent.
What
I was-
color did you paint it?
Green.
And you have it?
Yeah. By touch, I figured out that this pen is green. I still have it. I have to dig it up. I honestly, I don't remember where it is. But I look back at the stuff that I made back then, and even later, I've got some stuff that hung on from like wood shop in junior high school.
Wow.
And
I
I've
don't
got,
have any of
and
that
my
stuff.
mom has it. And like,
Wow.
why do you keep this? This is a piece of shit.
Do you say that to your mom?
No, I'm just thinking.
She
it.
probably
I'm sure she loves it.
treasures that piece.
I have a thing that's like, it's like this holder that you would put a little plant pot
Right.
in this thing, and it would hold it. And it was made of wood, and it had the Ankh symbol, because I would love Logan's Run. You know? And there's only one thing I needed to do to make this work. It's just have that part that holds the pot level. Nope.
Right.
Why? Why not? Really? I was in that much of a hurry that I couldn't just
You had
make
things to
this
do,
thing
people to meet.
level. And I just look at all the stuff that I made. I'm like, wow.
well, maybe.
I'm glad I managed to be somewhat good at some other things.
Right.
So don't feel bad. I mean,
Yeah.
talent is relative too. There's always going to be somebody that's a little bit better than you. at
Yeah.
Things you gotta just
Story of my life.
But just enjoy what
Yeah,
I'll bet you
know.
if we saw that dinosaur, we'd all go, "Hey, that's great."
No,
Sure.
you'd say it's a shitty
No,
dinosaur.
we would
Sure.
because we'd also keep in mind how old you were.
Well,
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I got.
Feel better?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, not even a little.
Here, this will
No.
make you feel better. Let me tell you. This is
all
another.
right.
This is another like early age story. When
Lit it
I
on
first
fire.
when I first came out to California, it was like the early '80s, and I remember driving. My dad was driving down in Hollywood, and there's two things. I don't know if it was like at the same day that I saw these. It probably was though, but these are the kind of things that, as such a horror sci-fi fan, that stick with you. Like we had gone to Universal Studios and Hollywood Walk of Fame, but these things I saw at this day were like, oh my God, this is so cool. We're driving down like Cahuenga Pass, kind of past the Hollywood Bowl. And if you're in the hills there's this cross, this holy cross
Yes.
that is up on the hill,
Right.
kind of like opposite side of the freeway
Yes.
from the Hollywood Bowl. And to me, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's the cross from the Kolchak the Night Stalker episode, The Vampire. It's like, oh my gosh, that's it.
Wow.
Because in that episode, it was called The Vampire. That's where Kolchak actually goes to L.A. to track.
It's the sequel to the pilot.
Kind of, yes, where he tracks this female vampire who's traveled from Las Vegas. Now she's like a call girl in Hollywood. But he's coming to...
There's more work out here.
Yeah.
At least back then.
So Kolchak is in Hollywood now, tracking her down. He's commenting on, this crazy Hollywood, so different from Chicago. And he sees this cross, and it's this cross on the hill. And later in the show, he tracks her down, and he gets her right in front of the cross, and he burns the cross. Obviously that's like a prop cross on a set at them. But the shot of when he first sees it in the episode is this cross. And I looked it up, and the cross was built in the 1920s. It's known simply as the Hollywood Cross. It's also called the Hollywood Pilgrimage Memorial Monument, and it was dedicated to a woman who was like into theater. She was like an heiress to like a paint company, and she was one of the co-founders of the Hollywood Bowl. Oh. So when she died, they built this cross, and I think now it's owned by like the county or something. Mm-hmm. But when I saw that, like, oh my gosh, that's the cross on the Kolchak the Night Stalker. That's awesome.
Right.
And at one point later on, when I was married with Degina, we tried to go up there and to get to it, but we couldn't get to it. I mean, we saw
You can't go up to it?
You may be able to, but we were just like kind of like on a whim tried to do
right.
it.
I
like,
gotcha.
We saw some guy in the neighborhood, and we asked him, "Hey, how do you get that cross?" I don't know.
Practice.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like all disgruntled by it, like he didn't like having up there or whatever. So okay, whatever. So, but anyway, that stuck in my mind. Like that's from Kolchak the Night Stalker. But then, at that same day when I saw that, on the other side along Cahuenga Pass, I don't know why my dad was going there, but he stopped at this place called Jeffries Automotive Styling. This is the guy, Dean Jeffries. Dean Jeffries was kind of like George Barris. He customized vehicles for lots of different shows. He made the Monkey Mobile. He made the Black Beauty from the Green Hornet.
Wow.
The Moon Buggy from Diamonds Are Forever. Cool. So we were stopping at this automotive place. I don't know why. Like my dad had a VW van. Maybe he was, going in to ask about some parts. I don't know if he knew who this guy was, but parked at right to the side of this building was the Landmaster from Damnation Alley.
Wow.
Which I immediately recognized. Like, oh my God, that's that cool truck thing from Damnation Alley. And it was like, what is it doing here? Like, this guy designed it. Like, really? And my dad had a camera. I took pictures of an old camera. I still have the photos of it. And so this was the cool kind of futuristic truck thing that was a really an actual working, vehicle that he designed for Damnation Alley. So again, to me, that was a day that just cemented in my mind. I see the cross from a Kolchak the Night Stalker episode, and I got to look up and close and look at this vehicle from Damnation Alley.
That's what's great about living here.
Yeah. It's
Living in
that's
LA,
the kind of thing that was so exciting to me. It was awesome. It's so cool. And the cross is still there. Dean Jeffries has since passed away, and the vehicle is not there, and that building is something else now. But it was there for a long time, though. This was early 80s, and I would think it was there until maybe the 90s. But that was awesome. And that's the kind of thing as a nerd kid is oh my God, it's so awesome.
If I could have a Batmobile.
Yeah, really.
If they made affordable Batmobiles, like a custom car that everything about
Street
it
legal.
was street legal, and the inside was an updated regular car, and everything was, smog, everything was taken care of, where this car is something that's perfectly legal, and you could have a Batmobile or a Mach 5.
I would have went a Landmaster. I would just want to drive
that might be a little tricky, but
it's funny. You bring up Batmobile. You bring up certain places. Probably when I came to LA, going to Bronson Cave
Absolutely.
was such
That's
a
on my
thrill.
list.
And what's funny is for listeners who aren't in the LA area, there's Bronson Cave. It's the famous cave that they use for when you see the classic 1966 Batmobile come out of the cave.
Yeah.
Right.
And
it's the cave that everything came out of.
Dozens
so many
of
movies.
movies, TV shows. So many monsters emerged from that cave.
Yes.
Still do. They still use the cave.
Because the funny thing about it is it's not only have a great entrance, but it's a decent sized cave. It
it's
goes
not real. Technically, it's not really a cave. It's more a tunnel.
It is. You're right. It is a tunnel.
It's ideal for filming though, because both ends of it work as two different entrances.
Exactly. But what's interesting is people go, well, how do you get there? Well, basically, that's like Bronson Avenue,
in Hollywood.
And what happens is if you take that going north, it's like you go into the hills. It's like into the Griffith Park area.
You go into the park.
And you're basically going to get to an area where your car can't go any further.
Right, and
And what you do is you park, and you basically walk up this trail, which is now a dirt road.
Yeah.
And it goes up, and it starts to curve, and then you'll see this cave.
And this is free. It's accessible to anybody. You can go up there anytime. It's been done Equinox. It was in dozens of Our Limits episodes.
Dimension 5 with Jeffrey Hunter.
Yes, many.
And I'll just tell one story. A friend of mine, Scott Sebring, who is really well known as he dresses up as classic Adam West Batman.
Right.
And he and his lovely wife were going to Bronson Cave to take pictures of him in his Batman outfit. And again, his outfit is fantastic.
Yeah, it's very real.
Scott Sebring, you can look him up on the internet. And the great thing about Scott is he does all these, he goes to convention stuff, but he has done nice things in his Batman outfit, for people and stuff. But what was really cool is he and his lovely wife, Vicky, went out to Bronson Cave to get some pictures of him in the Batman outfit. So he's in the Batman outfit, and they're walking up the dirt road. As they start to walk there, they see right in the middle of the cave is this woman and her 6 or 7 year old son. They turn and they see him, and the kid freaks out. And the woman goes, "Oh my God! I was just telling them that they filmed you here."
That's awesome.
And Scott went into his wonderful.
He does a very good Adam West impersonation.
He says,
too.
"Well, that's right," and they didn't have a camera.
Right.
But Vicky, his lovely wife, had a camera. They took a picture of Scott with the little boy in front of the cave and sent the photos off to him.
Oh, that's great.
And it was, Scott is like that. He and his lovely wife are fantastic.
Actually, if any of our listeners have gone to San Diego Comic-Con and have taken pictures with a classic Adam West Batman,
more than likely,
in a kick-ass suit, it's probably Scott.
Sebring,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So he's a terrific guy. He has a wonderful wife, and that's great story about Bronson Cave. But going there the first time, I had to go. I had to walk all the way through.
Well, talking about classic locations, Vasquez Rocks.
Oh my gosh,
fantastic!
Sean.
And
it's a little out of the way.
Yeah, of course, that's where
off
classic
the 14
Star Trek episode Arena, where Captain Kirk fights the Gorn, and of course, when Gina and I went, we brought our little Mego figures of the Gorn and Kirk and set them up and set
forced
little forced perspective, and turn out pretty good.
Yeah,
But,
no,
like, that
Do you know
place
what
is
we're talking?
awesome.
Do you know what we're
Of
talking
course,
about?
yeah.
Has everybody here been to Vasquez Rocks?
I've not been to Vasquez
Okay.
Rocks.
They
I've been
did
to,
the mountain scene and interiors, I believe.
I think a road trip is in store.
Yeah,
Road trip.
Road trip. Would that
Totally,
be
Monster
fun?
Party road trip. But that's a classic.
Zuma Beach, where the end of Planet of the Apes was shot.
That's true. That's true.
It's so easy to get to. When you just look at it, it's like, yep, that's where the Statue of Liberty was.
You know,
Wouldn't it be great to do like a flash mob of like you get a whole bunch of people, like you get like 25 people dressed as Taylor and have them all drop down at the same time and go,
well,
"You maniacs!"
You know, it's funny you should say that because there was a time when I was working for Playboy and I had to do a little shoot out there. And of course, this is non-nude, you know, but I did have a pretty playmate out there in that exact area.
Nice.
And I was so excited and I wanted to have her do something like, but she...
It's better that she's Nova.
Yeah, yeah, but we didn't do anything like that.
I was going to say one of the best vacations my wife and I ever took was we went to Port Merion in North Wales, which is where the village is from the Prisoner TV show, and it's this classic kind of Italian style actual place where people can stay, like a vacation resort type place. And we stayed there one night, and it's the village. It's exactly the same as it was in the Prisoner.
Very unique.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And they have like a little Prisoner store, and yes, they had a balloon they can blow up like the rover. And Gina filmed me running from the rover.
What's funny though is that I remember the pictures that you took,
Right.
And so the big balloon thing, which in the series is about the size of a man. It's a big balloon.
Right.
The one he has is like maybe a little bigger than his head.
It's like a mini rover. That was a little mini Sentry that was sent out
like
separately.
It's like the rover that didn't get a lot of oxygen in the womb,
Yes.
and he's trying very hard though.
But it's awesome. It's an awesome place to
And
go.
where was this? Where was this?
It's
again?
in North Wales. It's in Gwynedd, North Wales.
Well, that's another
England.
thing. Yes, England.
Okay.
But that's the other thing too, is that now we've all gone to Japan, and we love Japan. But when we think about it, there's so many other places too that are nerd friendly that we could go.
In Japan?
No,
everywhere,
around the world.
everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah. When Gina and I were in New York, of course, you go to all the classic places, but we went to the building that was the apartment building for Rosemary's Baby in Central Park West. We went to this pub called the Slaughtered Lamb Pub, which is a werewolf themed pub, named after the pub from American Werewolf.
Did it have a
London.
neat thing out like
It did
a
have
sign?
like a sign, yeah. In fact, we stole a menu from the place because it's awesome.
That is one thing about the movie I really liked, the slaughtered lamb.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's cool.
okay.
Just
All right.
that.
No, I take that back. I don't want you guys to think that I didn't like the movie. I do like American Werewolf from London.
I don't
do.
know how you could not like
Yeah,
it.
you should watch it again now.
funny. It's
Let's kind of
great.
reassess it.
It's when we get John Landis on, we can talk to him
Yeah,
about it.
okay.
It's
No, we
I
can't.
want, yes.
No.
I want to ask him.
Tell him.
So what is this?
Tell him why one of the best movies, one of the best horror films
He ever made?
of that time.
Sure.
Why you find all these problems with it? I would love.
I'll make
I would love to hear that.
I'll make a
conversation.
list, and I'll say, okay, so
Here's where you went wrong with your.
It's like, okay.
amazing success.
I can tell him, okay, so you did your old Animal House thing. Had to throw some of that in there or something like that.
What was Animal House about?
Well, he directed Animal House.
Well, I know, but what did he
And
throw?
Trading Places?
What did he throw
It's
into
comedy.
America?
Comedy.
Oh yeah, it was a
has
perfect
comedy.
blend of horror
Perfect
and
blend,
comedy.
yeah.
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 All right, speaking of Logan's Run, we were in Dallas, Texas. We went to Fort Worth, Texas, where they had the Fort Worth Water Gardens, which is what at the end of
mall.
Logan's Run. No, at the end of Logan's Run.
Yeah,
when you're
with
in
the old
water.
man, where the old
We
man
walked
is.
down there and took pictures. Exactly the same.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Isn't
Awesome.
that isn't the arcade though? Isn't that a mall?
There's a
also?
mall to which we have not been to, which is
Is it
some kind
still
of
there?
I think
I
it is
don't know.
though. I think it's it's a huge mall.
Oh, I bet it's changed,
of course,
though.
out here in LA, the Bradbury Building. Hello.
How about Monroeville Mall?
Whoa! Take it easy, man. You're going. What about? No. He just said Bradbury Building. And you just pushed him aside. Can we
went-
talk?
we
can
went there on
pay
Valentine's
some
Day.
Respect?
We've talked about that a lot. Fuck,
Yeah.
fuck Sean and his Bradbury Building shit.
It's where they shot Blade Runner.
Broken
Hello.
record.
Hello.
That's true.
So you've never repeated yourself on the show. Oh, I see.
As we've discussed before,
I've never repeated
I am
myself
totally
on the
full
show.
of shit, and none of the rules apply to me.
But yeah, we've all been to the Bradbury
look,
building, right?
I want to acknowledge you. Yes,
Thank
and it's
you.
a beautiful, beautiful,
and much
building.
smaller than you think it is.
It
really.
is
it's
smaller.
thinner. You know, it's
what?
like, yeah.
You know what got me is when I went up the building. I'm inside. I'm enamored with it, and I go up a couple floors, and I remember. Wait a minute. Remember it looked like the floors were all wet in the movie. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how did they get this place all mildewy or wet or something? And
and of course it's in the Outer Limits episode too.
That's
Demon with a glass hand. Yeah. It is a really cool building.
But what about like other countries? Would you be interested in going to New Zealand and going to like the Hobbit?
Oh yeah, I would love
That'd
to
be
do
pretty
that.
cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be, I actually
Can you stay in those things?
No, you can't stay.
Are you sure?
Because it's actually the set pieces that were used for the film, you can't actually, stay in.
Right.
They should build some.
They
though.
have. They have.
Okay.
Actually, one of my brothers did go on a trip there. And actually, I have a nephew who lives there now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he said it was just amazing. And
I would like to see that.
His pictures are fantastic of that whole area. I mean, that's something I'd love to go and see.
How about you,
cool.
James? Where do you want to go?
Well, you mentioned briefly the Monroeville Mall in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I always
It was brief
Yeah.
for a reason, James.
well,
I
it was my
You were
dream.
interrupted?
It was my
Rudely erupted.
I know.
Oh, erupted?
I rudely erupted. I'm very excited
that
about this.
happens.
Listen,
Very excited
I just
about this
wanted wanted you to acknowledge Sean. You
I
can
do.
talk about.
We all know how much.
Yes, I
Sean knows how
understand.
much I
No,
love
you
him.
can talk about your mall and okay, James is bringing.
Save that for a mall episode.
Yeah. Anyway, James.
James, go ahead.
That's where they shot Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
the
totally.
original.
Yeah.
And what's the mall again?
It's the Monroeville Mall in Pittsburgh, or outside Pittsburgh, and Monroeville presumably. And I always wanted to visit it, but now it's probably been through so many renovations you couldn't even recognize.
You think
it.
so?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Which
You don't think they have that arm machine anymore? The guy gets.
And wouldn't you think that they would, bend over backwards to make that place kind of look a little bit more like it did to make it a tourist?
What, to make it look like
attraction?
a zombie
I just don't-
apocalypse
No,
mall?
no, but I
Having
mean,
blood
like-
all over the place? Are you
Yeah.
crazy?
Oh.
No.
Like the pond, the little.
Oh, they clean out the pond.
No, God. The most fucking literal person in the world.
Well, what did you mean by that?
No, that they make little areas of the mall look like they looked in the movie, so people who visit the mall could take a photo.
I just don't know if
and
it's
it
so.
would get people to come to the mall.
Hi, come to the mall where the zombie apocalypse was filmed.
where
We'll have
a
blood
mo-
spattered all over the place.
A
What would
movie about the zombie apocalypse happened? See?
Maybe I wonder if like around Halloween they do something. But other than that, I doubt if there's. Do they?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at websites, and there's people who live in that region who are a lot more familiar than we are about what they do over there.
Right, okay.
If there's any listeners out there, can you send us some photos?
Yeah.
Listeners
yeah.
in
I'd like to see
Pittsburgh
that.
or I want to see those.
And there's conventions, and it is still commemorated for being that
Oh, okay.
Can you
location.
That's
imagine?
cool,
Hey,
then.
let's do the reenactment.
Let's go then.
Oh,
At the
see, now
mall.
you're
Yeah.
getting into the idea.
Well,
Yeah.
well, it's not like they have a thing all year round. Come and look at the blood spatter pool.
Nobody
It's
did-
like
no one except you said blood spattered. No one. So that's another interesting thing that I learned about you. You create
What's
an
that?
argument in your head and then make it manifest into reality. Pretty clever, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to my world.
What about tours? Have you gotten done tours? Because Gene and I have.
Oh, I thought for a minute I thought you said, "What about Tor?" Like Tor Johnson,
Tor Johnson.
like Tor Johnson's
Tor
house.
Johnson Mall. Like New Orleans, Gene and I went on like a ghost tour and a cemetery tour. In London, we did like a haunted London tour. Those are really cool.
Wait.
I'd like to do those.
In New
Yeah.
Orleans, you went on a ghost
Yeah,
tour?
yeah, we-
like, where do you go? Where do you...
To the ghost tour place.
So if I'm in New Orleans, I go to New Orleans and I go down Bourbon Street and I go, hey,
There's
I'm
places to
looking
look
for
up.
the...
There's this thing called the internet, and you can look up like tourist attractions and things in New Orleans.
Yeah, what you do is you land in New Orleans and you look for flyers.
You go to the hotel lobby.
Yeah,
And there's a
the
thing
cemetery tour is really cool because of the way the land is there. Like you have to bury them above ground, bodies above ground.
Yeah.
Because they'll sink and they'll come to life if you don't
But
bury.
what about that house that was in like American Horror Story?
Oh yeah, there's a famous a famous kind of like hotel, I think that was American Horror Story.
This woman lived there, and she had these. American Horror Story did this whole season about her, where she it was Kathy Bates.
Yeah, that
she
character.
had these slaves that she had hidden away in this like secret
She was
torture
supposedly
room.
a witch.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah. There's a London tour, which is really cool because the tour ended at this pub called the 10 Bells Pub, and that was a pub where one of Jack the Ripper's actual victims was last seen.
Oh,
So we toast to her and drink. It's cool. Those are really cool to do if you're going. I mean, we always seek out that kind of stuff when we're going to another country, like cool horror, voodoo, ghost stuff.
And you guys have never been to Italy? You have, right?
No,
I have not. No.
Because I would assume that there's something like that. Like you've mentioned all the places that you could find that were like Dario Argento.
Oh, is there
locations.
a 20 million miles to Earth tour? You know,
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Here on the Colosseum, there's where the emir stood. And
That's true. That's
You
true.
know,
Actually, in
You
Norway,
go in, there's a tiny little model of the Colosseum. And you can
behind
stomp
glass.
Actually, one of our listeners has been in Tokyo recently, and he mentioned a theme restaurant in Tokyo based on Suspiria.
That's insane.
wow.
Why don't they have that here?
I know.
Why do they have that kind of stuff somewhere like LA's where they have that should have that kind of stuff?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to really hand it to Japan because those guys know how to have
Ultraman
it.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Jerry Anderson restaurants.
here
like,
in
crazy.
LA, there is the Scum and Villainy.
That's true. The Scum and Villainy.
That's new.
Yeah,
right?
well, the Scum and Villainy Cafe or Cantina
For Star Wars fans?
Yeah, it's like it's not officially a Star Wars, but no, but it looks just like the Cantina from the original Star Wars.
I see.
It was originally a pop-up bar,
Okay.
but now it's permanent. It's on Hollywood Boulevard, and it's really cool. And they play science fiction music. They play that.
Oh, wow.
And they have all these space themed drinks, and it's really cool.
I love space themed drinks.
Yeah.
That's why I miss the Quarks bar at the Hilton. in Las Vegas.
Yes, that
'Cause
was cool.
That thing was talk about attention to detail.
That was really good.
really great.
It was the
They had-
Hilton, right?
It was the Hilton.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I stole that menu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like Captain Cisco's chili, and and all this kind of stuff. Great. I mean, I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
Too, also anytime we're in another country, we always like to seek out the toy stores.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing that Gene and I have done, which I'm very proud of, is that there's a toy store called Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
And it's a great toy store.
Where?
Well, there's 3 different ones.
Oh.
There's a Forbidden Planet in London, England.
Okay.
There's one in Edinburgh, Scotland. And there's one in Dublin, Ireland. And we've been to all 3.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
It's really- the main one is like London. But
Yeah.
it's like,
Carrie and I, we're in England, and we're looking for it.
Okay.
And
right?
Up until this point, I've been pretty good with directions.
Right.
But somehow I get something wrong. And I'm sure that I'm on the street that eventually will get you to Forbidden Planet.
Right.
But all of a sudden now we realize, God, we're kind of walking into a weird neighborhood, and it's kind of really kind of off the beaten track, and the accents are getting a little thicker. Like, whoa, you having a laugh? And loud arguments and gunfire, and we're like, man,
Gunfire.
I think we might. I'm teasing, but and there's the off license, and you're like, oh
wow.
shit, and
Beam me out of here.
yeah, right. So then we turned around, and then we eventually found it. But it was like I could imagine asking for directions. Like,
Forbidden
excuse
Planet?
me, we're looking for Forbidden Planet. It's the science fiction store.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I love that. I love that story.
Yeah,
There's one in
really
New
cool.
York downtown
Yeah.
too.
New York, we have also been to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you've been to all 4.
All 4, yes. I don't know if there's any other.
Are there any other?
I don't know.
Forbidden
If there are,
Planets?
we'll go there.
I
This is
snuck
awesome.
last time I was in the New York one. I snuck some Monster Party flyers into where the flyers were. So
I thought you were going to
Nice.
say you stole a menu from there. That seems to be the ongoing theme.
Every movie should have a restaurant. I think every
Yeah.
show, I the themed restaurant. Like when we went to that Thunderbirds
yeah,
What was it?
restaurant,
Yeah,
man, it was so
that's in
great.
Japan, right?
Yeah, it was in Japan.
Oh my gosh.
And
it's temporary.
it was well, I don't think they meant it to be temporary.
Right.
I think it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I think they meant for it to stay open, but then there's only so many Thunderbirds fans. But it was great. We got to see. It was like the last week that it was open, and
Japan is really good at keeping the Jerry Anderson stuff alive.
Yes.
they're always coming out with new products.
They are.
and-
They're really into that.
But
stuff.
do you remember that? Like we got because our friend Roger Takahashi, he knew the guy that owned the place, and so got us in. Like at first, we were going to go there for dinner, but they were having a private party, and so he got us in there after, and we had some drinks. And after it closed, he sent us some menus.
Yeah.
And it's these
awesome.
beautiful laminated menus that have like, Tracy Island is like a buffet platter, and it's
So
just
cool.
like, I love shit like that, where this, especially like making the food look like something from the show.
That is so
Right,
great.
yeah.
And the Ultraman bar does
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
And
that
there's
is-
little action figures around and vehicles, and it
Yeah,
just lends
yeah.
itself so much.
And just like the robot restaurant, which I know we've talked about before, but like that kind of a thing, like it's just that kind of like pop culture love that they have for stuff like that.
Yeah, and not feeling in any way
like forced or
well, there's no restraint at all.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
no, you want a robot restaurant?
yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to take a moment to say for listeners, if you haven't checked out our video, Monster Party Goes to Japan on YouTube,
Yeah.
it's 65 minutes, and it's
Pure joy.
It is pure joy. I mean, it's so fun. Matt, there are times I'm feeling a little low. I'll put that on, and all of a sudden I get happy again.
yeah,
You
we
know,
need to go back there.
Yeah, tell him.
The first time, I mean, it was as much as it was a dream for all of us to go together, and it was like the best time of my life.
However,
Well, the very, very first time I went had to be the greatest nerd adventure of my life when I think back on it.
Wow.
Sure, I know.
Because I had grown up dreaming about going. I never knew when I'd get to go. I went, it's probably around 2001.
this is with Playboy.
It was with Playboy. I was chaperoning a couple of playmates. And, first class, VIP treatment all the way, great
Right.
hotel. And the first night, the hotel was in the Ginza area. So I took a walk and I asked them, where's Ginza? And they pointed me in the right direction.
I said, "Where's Godzilla?"
Well, I passed a robot traffic cop. It was just a robot that his arms were waving. I was like, this place is so cool. And then three blocks later, I see the Waco clock tower that Godzilla destroyed.
In the original.
1954.
Wow,
And
that's so awesome.
I got chills. I almost wept because it's like, yes, this is exactly where I want to be. And to cap it off, a day or two later, I'm walking down Ginza with one of these playmates, and I point to that building and I say, Godzilla destroyed that building in 1954. And she looks at me and goes,
What's Godzilla?
she looks at me and goes, was Godzilla a true story? Like, wow.
And she said yes.
What did you say?
I said, no, it was a movie. But, I guess the way I told it
That's
made
almost a Larry answer.
it made it sound like it was a fact.
Right. Yeah, that's because it's it's such an important thing to you. Like that's
it's
what
iconic.
it is. It's like
It's iconic. And another remarkable thing about that memory is that I spent a lot of free time looking for toy stores in Tokyo and having to really go to these out of the way neighborhoods. It's different now because a lot of the mom and pop stores have closed down, and
Right.
all you really need to go to is like two different neighborhoods where it's all centralized. But
Right.
back then, I really learned the city by going to these far flung places,
Right.
and getting lists from toy vendors here in the States. Like Clawmark Toys were really nice. They sent me directions, and it's still like where the hell am I? Where am I going?
Yeah, you helped me. You helped us when
That's
Carrie
true,
and I
like all-
went
all
to
your
Japan.
knowledge, yeah.
We had you made all these maps and
Yeah.
had actual pictures that he
Yeah.
took.
And Larry gave me maps because Larry had been there before I was, and he gave me all this information to go to.
I did.
Yeah,
I did,
So
but
we paid it forward.
Well, the funny thing is, I gave you some information, and you went once, and then you went twice. You went several times, and then you were able to compile all this information, and you really helped.
Well, yeah,
make
by the
our
time-
group,
by the time it was a Monster Party pilgrimage,
yes,
it was
when
like-
We hit the ground running.
because Sean
Yeah,
had
yeah.
never been there
Yeah,
before.
this is my-
When we all went as a group, that was
And my
like,
wife, too.
it was probably one of the happiest times of my life.
Yeah,
too.
it was
That
awesome.
was
What was great too is that we really made the most of our days.
Oh my
because
gosh!
of
I
how
still can't believe how much
organized you
we got stuffed into
Yeah,
those
I mean, we
days.
really packed our days.
I was daydreaming about those itineraries for months.
You
It was so much
put
fun.
together that beautiful schedule, the beautiful itineraries. We're going to do this
Yeah.
and this, and I was thrilled. Think about it. I mean, how often are we going to get there? And you had it jam packed with stuff, and I didn't mind getting up early and hopping on that train, and
Of course, we still got lost, but that's inevitable.
but it was fun.
But getting lost in Japan
and first of all, don't make it sound like, oh, we got lost every day. No, there was just like a couple little times when we went on the beach.
took the wrong train.
Right.
But you know what? I told you this while Sean's passed out on a bench and Matt's all like being all grumpy and cold. And, I looked at this opportunity as, you know what? We're in a different area. We're not in the right place, but gosh darn it, I'm looking at that rock and that train rail and that little bush over there, and I'm looking at that stuff. I'm saying, I may never see that again. Hi, bush. Hi, rock in Japan. And I was like so happy to be there, even if I was in the wrong place. It was so cool to be in some place
very
completely
zen
different. No,
of you.
I
was kind of a dream experience.
It really was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and that's really, honestly, in all seriousness, that is what life should be. For all our stuff that we enjoy, this moment right now that we have, we're talking, we're laughing, and that entire trip, I mean, I was so locked into each moment because
it was like a heightened sense of everything.
I mean, and you add the foreign environment too. Yeah, it really does kind of fuel your engines. And I really got into this place too of that zen of, I complain just because it's fun sometimes. But
is that what it is?
Yes.
You're having fun. Great. Good to know.
But like I really did get that same kind of feeling where I was like, I'm just so drinking this up. I don't know when we're going to have this time again.
Right.
And it made me, makes you appreciate your life.
But it's what's great is if I drop dead tomorrow, or if I never travel any place ever again, I know that we went there, we had this experience, we filmed it, we put it together, and so I can relive it over and over again by watching that video.
Yeah,
no
it's
one
pretty
can
awesome.
take that away.
The one thing that I think we need to do next, Japan-wise, and I would really love to do this with all you guys, is to do one of the conventions, do one of the toy shows.
Oh gosh, that would be awesome.
Wonderfest, Superfest, one of those.
Yeah, any of those. That would be so great. Because that's like kind of throwing everything that we love all in one. It's like
totally.
Comic-Con in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to get into the convention stuff too. Like, what would you guys say are some of your most memorable conventions? I mean, of course, I know Comic-Con is really in a way the birthplace of Monster Party, but like we've been going to conventions for decades.
Since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go to all the ones in San Francisco and Oakland, Berkeley, and I'd go to a lot of comic book conventions, Baycon, which was in Berkeley, and got to meet, Jack Kirby and Gil Kane and all these guys that I respected, Neil Adams, and
That's
I think I've
cool.
still got the program where they signed everybody.
Neil
signed
Adams?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it
pretty
was
cool.
great. And those early ones, there was something. It's kind of like when we talk about movies and how everything is so easy to find now. It's like eBay kind of, in a way, it's great, but it also kind of ruined everything.
Yeah, it's like a good and bad.
Yeah. Back then, you'd go to a convention and that was your opportunity to
buy a photo.
to buy a thing, to buy a dribble.
Yeah.
And the idea that you could, like, oh my God, someone's selling a tribble? Someone made a tribble to sell.
Yeah.
Well, the dealers' rooms used to be a wonderland where you found stuff you could not find anywhere else before eBay.
Yeah.
Now it's never going to be the same again.
It's not quite the same. It changes by year. It kind of, but there is still something about it. My very first date with Gina was an X-Files convention in 1995. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Trust no one.
Yes. But it was cool. But and there's been a lot of weird, odd conventions here and there too. Like I remember Gina and I went to a Space 1999 convention.
I crashed that one.
Yeah,
Wait, there was a Space
it was near
1999?
LAX, or was kind of around
Nobody there.
Yeah, it was really tiny. It was spread out across different rooms, and it was
crashed it.
weird.
Really?
Yeah. I
it wasn't. I didn't see. I mean, supposedly, I think Martin Landau was there. I think Barbara Bain.
She signed my.
Oh, I didn't
action
even see
figure.
her. No,
Yeah.
I don't think we saw
And
her. but-
there was this main room that they had set up like the control room of one of the Eagles, and it was amazing.
I didn't
They really did a
remember
great.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
don't
did
know
a
if I
great
got to see
job.
all of it, but it was. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Well,
But,
it's funny you should bring that. So no one was there. There was hardly anyone there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smaller convention. It was kind of odd. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the first conventions I went to was actually a Japanese animation / Godzilla convention.
Real, like we're in San Francisco.
This was in San Mateo at the old Dunphy Hotel, which used to be shaped like a castle. And it was
okay.
just it's been destroyed, okay, and they put out something else there. But actually, August Rigoni was actually the guy who put it together, and it was in one room.
Wow. So this is what?
How many dealers were there? 3. There were 3 tables,
including August himself.
And what he did is he had kind of this. Remember a small TV set that was playing this Japanese animation, and there were about 20 to 30 chairs in this one room, and then you had the 3 tables lined up, and my younger brother and I, we went, and we had a blast. My parents left us there. We were there for something like 4 or 6 hours in this one room, and I remember there was an auction. They had an auction for the Yamato ship.
Spaceship Yamato.
And I remember thinking, I've got $60. I've got this in the bag. It sold for over $120. But that was one of the first conventions I went to. Eventually, we'd love to get August on this show because he's a huge Japanese animation and Godzilla Ultraman expert. He did an amazing book.
That book is incredible.
But I went to one of his first conventions.
I love, and I really have a fond place in my heart for all those small conventions that, I started going to. Mm-hmm. And there were the bigger ones. There were like the ones that would be at like the Civic Auditorium where they'd have Shatner and, the bigger names of Star Trek. And those were kind of big conventions. Even for the time, they were pretty big. Yeah. A lot of dealers' tables and
creation cons.
I was like pre-creation.
Right.
But don't you guys think, though? I mean, and we've mentioned this in today's day and age. I mean, everyone knows about Comic-Con, but it's so difficult to get into Comic-Con.
Yeah, Comic-Con has become such a beast.
So what happens is people all over the country, all over the world, they know about Comic-Con, but they can't get there for whatever reason. So there are these other cons that have blossomed all over the planet.
Well, because like I think when we were younger, conventions were for stuff that was cult pop culture. It was we've talked about this before. Like nerdism, Nerdland is mainstream now. So like Comic-Con now it promotes everything. It promotes all the big giant shows, all the corporate franchises. Sci-fi and horror is mainstream, and like maybe when we were younger, like the early the early Star Trek conventions, in the 70s, there were like tiny conventions, and you had everybody there, but it was for those Star Trek, for those sci-fi people, like it's just not like that anymore. I mean, it's
part of my love for 16 millimeter films is because I remember the joy I had going to those little conventions and watching a Star Trek episode or an Outer Limits or whatever.
In 16 millimeter?
On like metal chairs in a big room.
In a room.
Matt, I remember that. So I remember sitting in one of those rooms.
It was a special thing.
And if you want to divide the theater up, the projector was actually in the center of the room, and I had to sit maybe 2/3 into the back because it was packed.
Yeah.
But
you're seeing it on a relatively big
decent sized screen, and I could hear everything. They had a decent speaker, but still you could hear the.
I know,
and you know
awesome.
what? I loved it.
Yeah. There's something cool about it.
I felt like I was getting something really special.
Yeah.
So it's different, but at the same time, look, there are still great conventions. Monsterpalooza. I mean, it's awesome. It's such a horror lovers convention.
And what I love about that convention and like Designer Con, I don't know if you guys have ever been to that.
No, but I've heard about that.
But they're really great conventions because you get a lot more of fans creating merchandise.
Right.
It has a little more of a mom and pop feel than the corporate feel of, say, Comic-Con, because Comic-Con's it's just a giant trade show. And there are still some tables that sell stuff, but there's a real kind of, these are your buddies making stuff for you that they know you'll like. At Monsterpalooza.
That's cool.
Personally, like the reason that I go to cons has changed over time. Because like I said, there used to be all about the dealer room and finding stuff you couldn't find anywhere else. Now it really is about convening. It's about reconnecting with people, friends. Yeah. We go to Monsterpalooza and we see so many guests that we've had on the show.
Yes, that's
totally.
Right.
And we meet listeners, who might come up to us.
That's right.
And that's awesome. It doesn't matter if I find anything there. In San Diego, I've given up on finding anything I'm going to buy, even though I usually
still find stuff.
But it used to be the primary motivation. Now it's not anymore. Now it's hanging out.
Yeah, and it used to be that it wasn't just every table selling pretty much the exact same thing.
Right.
And that's, again, what I love about Monsterpalooza, because the fact that it's also about, makeup effects and
art.
designing
The craft
There's
and
art.
art. Yeah.
If you think about it, all those models and
Yeah.
art pieces that people make,
You can get one of a kind.
Yeah, that's cool.
Imagine that.
that is
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, and I love that, and I hope those conventions keep going, and I just hope they don't get too big, so they just become another Comic-Con.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I would really miss that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. One thing I do see, especially when it comes to anything that's horror related, and there's a part of me that doesn't understand this phenomenon, and at the same time I kind of do, and that is people with tattoos. I always love when I go to Monsterpalooza and I see somebody with this amazing horror tattoo.
You know, like Freddy Krueger or something.
Yeah, and I always like, and some people have like their entire arm done with everybody from, the Universal horror films to Freddy Krueger to, we have a listener, Angela McNichols.
Oh,
yes.
I know
I
what you're
love
going to say.
Angela.
Yes.
She posted
Angela.
on Facebook this great tattoo that she got
Yeah.
of the silhouetted Max von Sydow from The Exorcist
Oh, yeah.
on a television set.
That's amazing.
So
awesome.
great.
And I think I asked her about it. I said, is that on your arm or your leg? Because I couldn't tell
Yeah.
from the picture. And she told me that this is her favorite scene from her favorite movie.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
It's great. It's spooky. It's film noir.
And it's just amazing.
yeah. And I love that movie. I love that tattoo. I always admire the tattoos that other people get.
Yes.
None of us have tattoos.
I've thought though about getting a tattoo. I still kind
Really?
of. I would.
You?
I would get a Godzilla.
Shawn Sheridan?
Yeah, no, yes. I've told Gina this. I would get a little Godzilla tattoo like on my arm.
Really?
My only like hesitancy is like picking out which Godzilla.
Godzilla, right, which
And make
costume.
sure I would totally get a Godzilla tattoo on my arm.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I would like to do
I
that.
did not know that.
I would totally do that.
See?
Yeah.
I learned
See?
something
Probably
new.
how we
I think
learn
it would be
things about
it would
each
be
other.
Showa era. I think it would be like a class, like made from Destroying
Classic.
Monsters or.
King Kong versus Godzilla is pretty cool.
That's a cool one. Yeah. So I do want to do it. I just have to
Yeah,
find the
Godzilla
time.
versus Megalon.
That's the more cutesy puppy dog look. No,
I like that
No, I like
one.
it. I like all the versions, but I think I would get or maybe Godzilla versus the Thing or one
I
of
would
those
get-
classics.
The Godzilla from our Monster Party poster.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
I would get that. I would totally get
Oh
that.
my God, we should all get that.
Yeah.
That should be our.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I don't know. There's a lot of color that looks like a lot of pain there.
Well,
if you get it on the,
I
like,
probably will not get a tattoo
Really?
ever.
Ever.
Because the one place that I actually want to be sort of mint and packaged is me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. I don't want to fuck it up. And I have pictures I can look at.
Yeah,
I don't have to have it right on my skin. I understand that there's an entirely different philosophy when it comes to tribal art or whatever you want to call it of why
Right.
people get tattoos. I get it. I can't really wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
But I have flirted with the idea of if I did get a tattoo, what it would be. Now you say that's the one that you would get.
I think so. I mean, I've told it in the past. I've thought about like just like a little atomic symbol because it's kind of sci-fi-ish, or like a tiki thing. But that's kind of like that's almost cliched. Like I think I want to get some kind of monster thing.
I like the Godzilla idea.
Yeah, if there's any kind of iconic monster, I mean, there's lots I could choose, but I just think Godzilla would be the one.
Who was our guest that had the robots? They had the Lost to Space. The Maria robot and
Yeah.
Rhonda the
Oh,
robot.
yeah.
Theo,
I know that G. Charles Wright has some great
Yeah, that was
tattoos.
him.
Yeah,
Charles
yeah,
Wright,
yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
He has the great
Oh, he's
Plastic
calling-
Man.
It was Mr. G.
Yeah.
Mr. G.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
G has Plastic Man, and it's his hand. But then he's drawn
Yeah.
it so it looks like it's Plastic Man's hand.
Yeah.
Grown
pretty
big.
awesome.
It's so he's got
Yeah.
great tattoos.
Yeah,
And Joe DeRosa has some great tattoos.
Yeah, my sister has a few tattoos, and I think I like I said, I would totally be up. I'm totally up for it. I just have to find the time to do
What
it.
about you?
No.
Or no, if we're just hypothetical.
Yeah, like
if
what-
you were going to get a tattoo.
Well, look, Angela has a beautiful. She looks amazing.
yes, she does.
I, on the other hand, not quite so beautiful. A little flabby, a little, pudgy, a little. I mean, what?
It happens to all of
You
us,
know
my
what?
friend.
What would I get? The Blob. I'd have the Blob. Because look at it wiggle, look at it jiggle.
Wow.
You know, I
so
mean,
you would get a tattoo that mocked you. I'm learning so much.
well, it's like what if I
How about
get a robot?
How about a tattoo of a thinner?
If I did that
tattoo of a
scene,
thinner version of you.
I'm talking. Okay, if I took Angela's scene of The Exorcist that she liked so much and put that on my arm or whatever, the screen would slowly but surely start to like stretch out and be like kind of like
Wait a
16 by 9 or something.
You-
and
so you
would
put
be a
on-
little askew. Or
All your
something.
weight goes to your arm.
Well, no, I mean,
What about like Robbie the Robot? I would think if you got anything,
Again,
it would be
but
like Robbie.
he'd be misshapen after
on
a
your,
year or
on your
so.
ass, just like Robbie the Robot.
Oh, great, Sean! I want to put a robot on my ass.
Hey, speaking-
Why
Sean.
not?
Hey, speaking of ass tattoos, this is what I would do. I would have the Cygnus from the black hole
On your
around my cheek. And then I'd have Maximilian and Dr. Reinhardt
Okay.
just coming right out of the anus.
I thought you were going to say.
Okay,
I thought you were going to say
okay.
you're going to have a person's face from the human centipede
Yeah.
on your ass.
That's good. Oh, that's
You know.
good
Hey,
too.
do you know
Yeah,
how
that's
much
good.
that would hurt you to get that tattooed around your anus?
I'd be out cold.
No, that's not
No,
what
they
you
don't-
do.
they don't
put you
out.
No,
I
they don't put you out.
like
What kind
anesthesia.
of world do you live
I-
in?
I
That's
do-
not the macho.
He lives in
tattoo
Nerdland.
world. Yes,
That's where
Look,
he lives.
Angela, will you help us out? Tell this pansy here.
Yes,
no,
I am a pansy.
You don't. When you get a tattoo, you don't go. Okay, we'll give you a tattoo.
No,
so
when
let's
you-
put you out, sir.
Yeah, when you get
Okay,
an
when I
anus
wake up-
tattoo, you get put out. Yeah, that's what happens.
James, what about you?
Well, what, you're gasping already?
Do you have a tattoo that we don't know about?
No, I do not.
But would you consider it though?
Yeah. I you know,
Really?
it's a commitment. I don't know where.
Woody
I
Allen?
would- I would
Yeah,
do
you
a little-
could tattoo Woody Allen glasses.
realistically, my biggest problem with tattoos is that if you're in Japan, tattoo equals yakuza, and you can't get into certain places
Of any kind? Yeah,
You
but
can't
still
go to
though.
hot springs. Yes, there's still a
Really?
stigma. Yes.
So if you had a Godzilla tattoo, they're Yakuza. Like,
well,
really?
Well, it's,
No, that's
they're
true.
pretty strict about it.
That's,
Yeah, they are.
Wow, that's
No,
crazy.
And I'm sorry for listeners who don't know, or for co-hosts that don't know, Yaku. What is that?
Well, it's Japanese gangsters.
like
and
they're
they-
mafia.
The mafia.
Wait,
and
so if
they-
I had a little teddy bear or a little Godzilla, they go, oh, gangster.
Yeah, they would.
Godzilla gangster.
traditionally, the tattoo culture there equals only gangsters used to have.
Wow.
them.
Now, do you
I
think
did
that's
not-
changed a little bit, though?
Probably changed, but I don't think that mainstream tattoo culture's really caught on over there.
Yeah,
still.
I probably wouldn't
Yeah.
do it, but let's come on, let's have a little fun.
I don't know. If I were going to get a tattoo, it would probably be the Superman logo because it's very
Oh, yeah.
iconic.
On your chest,
Maybe,
Yeah, like
maybe.
just
like
a
full
side-
size.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
No,
Okay.
That would be
See,
interesting.
again,
I would do the
Again.
I would do the Star Trek insignia
yeah.
right over my nipple.
Now, that would
Great.
be cool.
That's
That would be
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my nipple would be right in the middle of the little star.
don't you know how that would hurt? That would
Again,
hurt.
I'm doing this in Mexico
And
by a
then,
very
James.
It's going to hurt no matter what.
dodgy
you put it.
tattoo
Wait,
artist.
James, you
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
Superman on your chest. But when you get older, it's going to be all flabby and.
That would inspire him to keep in shape.
Yeah, I'm gonna
because
be
he's
buff.
Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. Oh,
right,
Sean's
how about-
going to say, "Well, just put it on your ass."
right,
then.
I would,
Hey.
get, I,
How
would
about
get,
this?
I would get a tattoo of Nicolas Cage as Superman on my chest.
I like it. I like it. How about a face tattoo? Anybody?
Yeah, that's to me
What do you
that's
mean
too
what do
much.
you mean a face
like that, I
tattoo?
mean,
Meaning a
that's-
tattoo on your face.
yeah, there's a lot of people have it all over their
like
face.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Braveheart?
people. Yeah, I mean they
Yeah.
have whole scenes on
Like
their face.
what is it? Chakotay, right? From
Yeah, Star Trek
yeah,
Voyager.
well, yeah.
Oh, well, why would I do that? Oh, I'm Chakotay. Hey, look at me. I could do that with
You're a
makeup.
real
I could do that with makeup.
I would
No,
love
I
to
am
see
a
you at
fan.
any convention with a Chakotay tattoo going, hey, look at me. I'm Chakotay.
Yeah, I don't know what I get on my face.
This is what I would do
Okay.
if I was going to do it. Because I think this would be cool.
I get a third
But
eye,
if you're-
just a third eye on my
that's good,
forehead.
That's good. That's
No,
good. Well, no. Oh, that would be good is the pineal gland.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then
That'd be good.
you go to apply for a job. Hi, just ignore this big tattoo on my face.
I don't work in
What-
customer
What
service.
job are we talking about? Yeah. I'm going to work at Amoeba. I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah.
The other one would be there's a little part of my skin that's like ripped off, and you see the the alien skin.
Oh
under it.
yeah, that would be cool.
Huh?
That's a good idea.
If you were gonna, go for it.
See, look, I'm being the realist here. Okay, this is all fine and fun to talk about.
Wow. Okay, Grandpa.
Let's ruin the fun now.
I'm just saying. I think realistically, I think. Oh, look, like what Angela did looks really cool. It's beautiful, but it's not on her face.
Yeah, I think that's why the arm was less. Like I've heard, if it's less skin, like if it's on your ankle, it's really painful because it's close to the bone.
Right. Yeah.
So it depends on where you get it.
No,
I think if on your shoulder, just on the side of your arm,
you could. I think one on your arm would be fine.
Yeah,
I think you.
And also that way, it's like even if you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, it's covered. It's only when you're walking around with that
Actually,
shirt.
one of the most beautiful. I will say one of the most beautiful tattoos I ever saw, and I've mentioned this before on the show. I actually went with my daughter to see Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D, and we met this beautiful young lady who had a tattoo of the creature's hand and arm kind of coming up. It was on her calf.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was absolutely
because that's
so
like
beautiful.
From the movie. Yeah,
yes,
that's cool.
Yes. And I was so enamored. I never thought. I mean, I would have my daughter with me. She's got her little creature. I actually had to go. Excuse me. I think this tattoo is amazing. She said, "Oh, thank you very much." I said, "Do you mind if we just get a quick picture? We're huge fans." Because she was happy to do it. And not only did she let us take a picture of it on her leg, but she also posed with my daughter.
That's right.
I
think we posted that.
And I believe her name is Emma, and she's a makeup artist, and the tattoo looked absolutely beautiful.
I know what I get. I would get a tattoo of the chest burster from Alien.
I was thinking that
in my chest.
I was
Just
thinking
realistic,
that.
Look like it's coming out of my chest.
We love all this stuff because there's a piece of our childhood wonder that we still hold in our hearts. And so when I think about my own body, when I think about the part of my body that looks the youngest, that would have to be, of course, my penis.
Right? Okay.
Penis has aged pretty well.
Whoa.
My penis is look. I'm just gonna throw it out there. My penis looks 20 years younger. I mean, a lot of moisturizing.
I believe that.
Have we come down to this?
Yes.
So what I
Let's say my big toe or
but I would be lying. My penis is the youngest looking thing. So what I would do is I would tattoo on the head of my penis a picture of me as a boy.
Oh, wow.
So I'd always stay young.
Wow.
Talk about pain.
Take that.
That would be painful.
that is the stupidest idea I have ever heard.
Wow.
On the tip
Wow. You have no
of
sense
your-
of wonder.
I don't wonder about that. Gee, let me get a face tattooed to my wiener.
Can you
Hey.
imagine that every time you look down and you go, and then there's your little you going,
Okay.
look what
okay.
you've turned into.
And guess what, my friend? Guess what? You think that's going to be all happy and erect your whole life? No. Eventually, it's going to be flaccid and it's going to be limp and lifeless.
No, because see, what you do is you get it so you have the image when it's flaccid. So,
All right.
so the worst that it gets to
I'm
look.
so sorry, listeners.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm so
that when
sorry.
it's hard, you just look like a well-fed boy.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, that's great.
Got
man.
it.
That's great. All right, moving on.
No sense of what? God. No sense of wonder. No sense of inner joy.
No, I have a sense of wonder, but I wonder about other things.
Like,
Well, like birthdays.
okay.
I like to think of something happy, something that brought you a lot of happiness and joy.
Okay.
Like perhaps one of your birthdays as a kid. You remember any of your birthdays when you were a kid, when you got gifts and
Sure.
you had a great cake?
How about this? You'd have your birthday parties that you had as a kid, and you got your cake that had some Hot Wheels on it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
like, yeah.
and that was always cool.
Yeah.
And then you got to keep the little toys
Yeah.
at the end. That was fun.
Yeah.
And you brought your little friends over, and they got a whistle or whatever, your party
Yeah.
favors.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking, and I had to have been, I don't know, like 8 or something like this. And I'm looking at a photo album of one of my brother's kids' party.
Okay.
And he's with all his friends, and they've all got toy sword, and they look like foils.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Like fencing foils.
Yes.
And everybody's got a little sword, and they're crossing the swords.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck? How come I never got any weapons?
Right. Right.
And we got the most lame kind of,
Right.
they're all right, but like a sword.
Right.
And you know what happened. They got the swords. They started doing a little sword fight. Somebody knocked something over and broke it.
Yeah.
Somebody the sword hit somebody in
Yeah.
the eye, because
Yeah.
I'm sure back when these swords were made,
They were
not
harder plastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have the
They're made of
flat
steel.
tip
Yeah,
or
yeah,
anything.
sure.
So someone got hurt, and then that ruined. That's the story of my life. I'm
Really?
sure, and you with all your brothers too. I'm sure there was a lot of things
Kind
where
of,
like,
kind
well, your
of.
brothers,
Well,
when they had a party, they
No. The funny thing is that looking back, it was all kind of equal. The one thing that my parents did, my mom was really good. She made a lot of these piñatas. Every kid got
Made
a
a
piñata.
piñata?
Yeah, she
Wow.
would make
Wow.
the piñatas from hand, and it was really amazing. But one of my favorites had to do, like, I had a bunch of really cool birthdays, but I'll just go over this one because the rule in our house was when you got to age 12, that was your last birthday with a whole bunch of friends over and you have ice cream and cake. After that, when you became a teenager, now you would go out to dinner with mom and dad. Now, I know you guys, you went out to dinner all the time, with your family. Look,
Really?
because I came from a large family, we didn't go out to dinner. Never. Never. We would never go out to dinner. So it was always like chicken spaghetti or here's some hash or something, And
Some slop.
shit on a shingle.
so when you turned a teenager, it was a big deal to go out to dinner with mom and dad, okay?
Right.
So I was turning 12. This was my last big birthday. We're going to go out big. And so I said, I want a Godzilla birthday party. What we're going to do is we're going to make Godzilla invitations. And because I'm
Cool.
turning 12, I got to invite 12 friends.
Right.
And my dad, we found this great picture of Godzilla, and he photocopied them and put all the information. I gave them to my 12 friends. And this is going to be great. We're going to have Godzilla-themed party things. We're going to have Godzilla contests, and we're going to have a Godzilla cake.
Pin the tail on Godzilla.
Kind of. So two of the things we did, one of the things that we had a make Godzilla head competition, and all the kids got a container of green Play-Doh.
Wow.
And so using my Aurora model kit,
Right.
and it was painted green. That was the example. And because it was my birthday, I was the judge. And so all of my friends...
no.
Clown looks terrible.
Oh God.
It's funny.
Payback's a bitch.
Looking back, Sean, I understand why after my
You have
birthday
no
party-
friends now.
No, well, I lost a few friends. Crap! And I never said crap, but looking back, I think I was too critical.
I can.
About-
I wonder why.
But no. I have a story here. This is kind of a neat story. Okay.
Wait, I hope the end of the story isn't that your older brother comes in and wins it with a better Godzilla.
No. So it came down to these 3 friends that I had, okay? And 2 of these friends, there was Marty and Joe, and they had their Godzilla clay head looking very realistic, very close to the model. But,
Right.
but my friend Doug did something a little different. It was not quite so realistic. It was more kind of a generic cartoony look. And what he did for Godzilla's teeth, instead of putting like toothpicks and stuff, he took, those little silver ball candies that they put on cakes?
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
put those around the mouth, and it was
Okay.
so clever.
Right.
It was so inventive, and it stood out as like one of the best looking ones. And I said to Doug, okay, guys, this may not look exactly like it, but this is so creative. This is the best one. And I know Joe and Marty, they were kind of ticked off. They were a little pushed out of shape. But, because I did say to the others, oh, this is pretty pathetic. I remember saying that to Danny. I look back and I think I didn't mean to say pathetic, but I did say pathetic. But so Doug won, and so he won an award. And I want to say out there, Doug, if you were listening, it was your birthday party, sir, that I lost that King Kong figure at, and I want you to know that I now have it now because I found one on eBay.
Wait, so you brought a figure over to his birthday party?
No.
You lost it?
It was
that
at
other-
his birthday
that
party.
other
They had that
story
contest
that he told.
the contest where you had to throw a frisbee through a circle, and it's
okay.
like they only had 8 King Kongs, and there were 10 kids, and so
Right.
2 kids didn't get a King Kong. I was one of the kids that didn't get the King
Fools.
Kong, but I did eventually find one, and I have it still mint in the package.
Yeah,
Right.
And I said, okay.
Every story is this
It's a
web of
revenge story.
retro retribution.
A revenge
It's like-
story of bitterness
No,
and anger.
yes, there's a lot of bitterness in my life. Okay, and also Doug, you have this great robot. You had a robot. I always wanted to ask you if you wanted to sell it.
Doug's not listening.
No, well, he might be listening. Okay, so then we had a drawing contest, and I think
Another contest.
well, yes, there was a clay contest, and I'd say Marty, I think, was a bit bitter that he lost the clay one, but he's a really good artist, and it came down to him and Danny, I think, and the cool thing is my Godzilla was missing. The Godzilla model was missing 3 fingers. And Marty was so good that he actually drew the Godzilla missing 3 fingers.
Wow.
And I said, well, your attention to detail is quite good. So he won that
Respected
contest.
that. Was there
But
like a stoning after this, or
after all the brouhaha, after all the happiness and joy, we had okay, so now it's time to do the cake. So here comes the cake, and my mom had put this like paper tablecloth on the table or whatever. You know, it had like little, didn't have Godzillas, it was more like dinosaurs or whatever. But they had, everyone had party hats on, and we're all excited. And my mom made this giant chocolate cake with my model in the center and building. She made a little road and little buildings from that seafoam stuff.
Sure.
And so,
okay.
she's gonna bring it out, and in addition to the candles, they put a sparkler in the center.
Cool.
So here's what happens. Everyone's ready. They light the candles. They light the sparkler. They bring it up, and the sparkler's going all over the place. Everyone's saying, happy birthday to you. Well, they bring the cake right in front of me, and the sparkler lit the table on fire.
Oh,
Midway
my
through the song, we're
gosh.
happy birthday.
kidding?
And so immediately, it's like a bunch of us had juice. It's like we're like dousing
Oh
the
my
paper
gosh.
tablecloth. And
very
then, And
realistic.
then what happened, yes, because what was great is I'm looking, I blow out the candles, and all of a sudden, all the smoke from the table just was rising up from the desolation of what Godzilla made. It was glorious.
So your mom won the who came closest to killing us competition?
Yes,
Right.
she did. And it was terrifying, but it was
kind of
exciting.
exciting at the
It was a
same time.
great way
Right.
to,
was
and
the
then
cake, was the cake salvageable at all?
actually,
Did
yes,
you?
no, because it was a sparkler.
Oh, yeah,
Sean.
right.
It was
So
a
you still ate
sparkler.
the
How'd
cake.
you
So
put a
it was the
sparkler?
table that caught fire.
Yeah, it was
Right,
the
okay,
table,
good.
the paper tablecloth that they put it on.
Wow.
Well, yeah. So
They
that
should have
was
sued.
that's my mom.
No, not sue your mom. The person that made the candle.
Anyway, what's really great
memorable.
was the chocolate cake was delicious. All my friends had a great time. It was a great Godzilla birthday party, and I still have that Godzilla model.
Wow.
This was the Aurora model.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I assume she very carefully placed it like on.
She did right in the center. I've
okay.
got a picture. I'll share.
You know
with you
that
guys.
my brother, I have all his original Aurora model kits.
He gave them to
Really?
you.
Gave them to
that
me.
he built
And-
that are built.
Yeah. And my
Really?
dad painted them.
Yeah,
my
you
dad's
said
a
they
really
were
good
good.
artist.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got them
Wow.
in storage, but I think I need to take them out.
Matt, you do because I want to
God.
see
Because they really
those.
are beautiful, and there are a couple that have like some minor damage on them.
Yeah.
But what's great now is with model
the
kits,
reissues that
with all the
you
reissue
can
model
get those
kits now,
pieces.
I can get those
Easily.
pieces
Yes.
and paint them just good enough to match the original paint.
Matt,
job.
you should do that,
Yeah,
seriously.
But he did an amazing job.
That's
And
cool.
it's also there's a few things that my brother had because he was 7 years older than me, and so I got some of his hand-me-downs. And if I still had those hand-me-downs, and I had them in really good condition, I've got a couple things like the Major Matt Mason space cannon.
Yeah,
Oh,
Was
yeah.
my brother's.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. It
And
makes a beautiful sound.
It's great.
Remember.
It's great. And he's got a couple. I got a couple other things. Of
So
his.
you have that?
I have that.
Does it work?
Yeah.
Does it still make
now
the sound?
I refurbished it because
Right.
what I did is I got another kit and
Yeah.
all the pieces that didn't work or
Yeah,
that were
I
broken.
I understand.
I fixed it.
I understand.
But it's great. Yeah, it's in perfect working order. But he had like the original Captain Action figures.
Cool.
With a bunch of costumes, and I used to play with them all the time. But then, I lost a boot here and there.
Right,
I lost and then there's nothing left. And and I remember he had and this is not something that was really worth that much, but he had an original, I believe it was AMT, the Enterprise model.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he had painted it up really nice. And this was when we were still kind of living together. I mean,
Yeah, at
still in
home.
the same
Yeah, sure.
household. And I looked at it and I thought, wouldn't the nacelles, the nacelles on the Enterprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've never heard that word before?
Yeah. James?
It's like the
Nasals.
The Enterprise nacelles. looked really cool to me, and I thought they looked like ray guns. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I broke them off.
Oh my gosh!
And those were my ray guns.
Wow!
And my brother came home and he hit the fucking roof.
I can see that.
And then even when I broke them off, I looked at them and I went, "These are crappy ray guns." Like I immediately regretted it.
Wow!
But how about you?
Well,
did you screw up your brother's stuff?
Well, some things I don't feel like talking about.
Oh.
But I will say this about a particular model. Do you remember Aurora? After Aurora had the standard monster models, then they came out with Monsters of the Movies.
Yeah.
And
I never got those, but those are pretty cool though.
I got the Creature, and one of my brother and my younger brother, he got a Frankenstein. Older brother got the Dracula. I remember thinking it was so stupid. I painted my Creature perfectly green, and my brother, when he was painting the Dracula, gave Dracula white shoes. White shoes on Dracula? That's stupid.
Dracula for a time was quite the dance.
And, well, it's funny you should say that because do you know what he painted the stone floor? Silver. It was as if it was like he was like in a disco, like Dracula disco guy.
Maybe he's just seen Love at First Bite.
Right.
Did he have white shoes?
No, maybe.
I don't know.
I just remember thinking to myself, that is so stupid. He's not taking his monster model seriously.
Well, you ever go on eBay and you see somebody has built up a kit?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you look at the picture and you're like,
It's like
well,
it's wrong.
Well,
really?
yeah.
You expect me to pay more for that?
Right.
But here's the thing. If the paint job's not great, that's okay. It's when you have chunks and chunks of paint, like yellow, or like it's so thick that, oh my God, I would actually have to take the plastic, dip it in.
Like it was put on with a
turpentine.
trowel.
Exactly, because I've seen that. I don't mind. Well, actually, my monster collection is pretty darn good right now because I have most of the models. I have two that are mint in sealed packages. Ooh. Yeah, the Witch and the Hunchback.
The Witch was such a great.
Yeah. But in all the others, I have open boxes that have all the pieces. There's only one I'm missing, and so I've been looking for one to find with the box, and that
What's the one you're missing?
It's Dr. Jekyll.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a great kit.
Yeah,
that was my first kit, actually.
Was that your first kit? Yeah, I never got that one, and I've seen a bunch come up, but it's like I want it with the box, and it doesn't have to be mint. I like it with the boxes open, and if the pieces are loose, that's totally fine.
Right.
I
like how now they make reproduction boxes sometimes too.
Yeah, but
no, I don't
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah.
No, I really don't want.
I have the snap action Pirates of the Caribbean kit.
Oh yeah, those are
Dead
cool.
Man's Raft,
Oh, that's a nice one.
and
That's the one where the little dagger.
And I had it as a kid, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it, but I found it again, and it's never been put together.
That's
and
cool.
Still has the box. And
Is it still have the plastic inside?
everything?
Matt, I am impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And I
cool.
probably will not make it.
Oh my God, Matt!
How do you
Every
like that?
day, every
Yeah.
day. There are times when I get upset, but right now we're having a moment.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to, and they might have in the past for a brief amount of time reissued those kits.
I think it did.
I
yes.
think so.
Yeah.
And I'd buy that one. I'll put
Yeah,
that one
I'll put that one together.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the Strange Change machines? There was a
Sure.
time
Yeah.
machine, a Dracula,
I have
and a
the
mummy.
reissue of that. I love that. Yeah.
I have all originals of all three.
Oh, cool.
And
What was the
what were
third
the other
one?
ones? It was a vampire.
It's a vampire. It was a vampire, Dracula, and then a mummy.
Oh, the Mummy.
And
okay.
then the time
that's
The
machine.
dinosaur one. Yeah.
There's another incident with my brother. My brother comes over to my place, and I had just picked up the Flash Gordon kit. Hello, listeners, from 1964, the model kit of Flash Gordon and the Martian. Mine is mint. It's like you open up the box, and it's still sealed, and it's plastic, and I show my brother, I go, look at it. It's still mint. And he goes, hey, Larry, that's great. Let's put it together. I'm all, eat shit. Don't touch this. Yeah.
Where did you find a vintage kit at that age?
No, you bought it more recently.
This was like 25, 30 years ago.
But you were an
that I
adult
picked it
at
up.
the time.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, you found like a toy show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
that's cool.
And it was I paid a few bucks then, and it's kind of maintained its value. But the weird thing is, I actually want to kind of find one that is built up so I can have one built up because I just can't bring myself to take this one out of its package because it's, Matt, it's from 64.
But is there
Matt,
ever going to be a
that's when I was
time
born.
where at the end, because all these kits that I have or toys that I haven't taken out of the package, there's a part of me that might want to do that close to the end of my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now I'm going to do it because chances are when I die, most of what I have, most other people will think, well, it's just worthless or give it to somebody else.
Oh, no, we're not going to think that.
Well, if you guys, let's say you guys all die before me.
Which is a good possibility.
Could happen any second.
But that's the other thing, too, is that when we were talking to Walter Koenig, he was saying how, he's at this age now where, he's like, who knows how much time is left in my life,
yes.
but yet I still collect.
Well, he made a great comment.
Right.
We asked him if he thought about stopping. He goes, you know what I did? I did for about 12 seconds. And, who am I kidding?
Yeah.
He is a true collector.
Yeah, no, he's got a great collection.
Yeah.
But I wonder about that, too, is there ever going to be a time where I'm going to go, okay, it's pointless for me to continue collecting because
I mean, there might
living
be at
on
some
this
point, but
oxygen and,
Yeah.
I think it'll whittle down to, okay, I'm not going to collect this anymore, but I'm always going to collect this. And then it'll whittle down to that one thing that, by God, you're not going to pry this from my cold, dead hands.
Right.
What have you collected in the past that you have stopped collecting?
I used to collect a lot of cartoon characters, like Warner Brothers.
You had a great Flintstones collection. You still have that stuff, right?
I still have it, but I don't know.
Popeye, you're a big Popeye fan.
yeah.
I don't know
That's
if I
cool.
would continue to collect it. I think I've sort of peaked with those. And at some point, I might decide to liquidate those.
You might liquidate your Popeyes?
It depends. Like as I get older, some things, like I was just saying, we'll hold on to.
Do you
and
still
some
have
will
them
let
on
go.
a shelf? There was a little space on a
Everything's
shelf.
in storage.
Including the Popeyes?
Everything.
When we get our
Including the James Bond? and stuff?
Everything.
when we get our Monster Party headquarters in Japan,
Yes.
we'll all live together and we will all have a place for
I'm
our stuff.
so sad right now.
Well, things change.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah,
change.
things do change.
What have you stopped collecting, Larry?
Hope.
Joy.
There you go. Thank you. Self-respect, yes.
Oh.
Well,
You
we could go
hit the
on
nail.
and
Yes,
on.
you hit the nail on the head.
How about you, Sean?
I don't know. I mean,
You're like me. You collect everything, right?
I still love Godzilla stuff, but I kind of do like to have the one Japanese character, if it's a good figure of. Once I have that, like for years I was waiting for good Gargantua figures.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I got like those Marmot ones, which are a little more cartoonish.
cartoony,
yeah.
But I still got them because I wanted something. Like they're
Exactly.
okay, they're kind of cool.
They look
but-
like midget wrestlers.
yeah, yeah. But finally, I think it was X Plus put out the most perfect figures.
Those
and they're
are
awesome.
stunning.
And in fact, they just recently I saw there's new ones coming out,
Bandai, I think, is coming out with them.
and they're pretty good. But I still think the X Plus ones are better.
Plus ones are
They're
perfection.
absolutely perfection. So like I don't have to get Gargantua figures
Right.
anymore. But there's I think just recently I saw there's a Frankenstein from Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Really?
A Bandai one that just came out, I think.
No way.
And
Is it 12,
yes.
12 inch?
It's maybe 8 inches,
yeah.
but it's like a realistic looking one. It looks
Yeah, it looks great.
awesome.
Looks great.
Because I have I think a Marmot one of Frankenstein, which is not bad, but I want the realistic one. So
Yeah.
for the Japanese and like for all the Godzillas, I have so many Godzilla figures. I guess I did stop collecting. I stopped collecting the Heisei figures. As awesome as they were, like the Space Godzilla and the Mecha King Ghidorah, and I just decided it was kind of hard for me, but I wanted to display all these figures. I decided to kind of go just with the kind of Showa series, except for Godzilla himself. I have all of his versions of Godzilla, but all the newer.
With the Millennium series.
Yeah,
And then
the Batra and
couple of
all
those,
those. I just kind of sold. I actually sold those off, and,
and
but
Final Wars had its own.
yeah, they're all cool.
I want every meltdown burning Godzilla.
Yeah, those are all awesome.
And
yeah.
what I really want still is that big one. There's that one that's
Yeah,
like 3
yeah.
feet tall.
Yeah.
That one is so great. It's like orange candy. Like I just, I want it to be gummy and I want to eat it.
yeah. But there's still like some obscure Toho characters that I like to get. Like, but yeah, as far as like the new modern Godzilla characters, I kind of like decide not to. Yeah, because the Showa ones have more nostalgia for me. They're kind of cooler when they put out those,
Sure.
But I still love like Planet of the Apes. I mean, all the horror characters, Star Trek stuff. I guess the main thing probably now I look forward to is all the distinctive dummy stuff. When there's something that I really want. Like I don't always want every figure that he puts out.
Right.
But the ones that are just some obscure character that nobody would ever put out. Like, and it's something I like. Then
You just put out those
really want
Twins of Evil.
Yeah, what they
are
put
nice,
out.
yeah.
They haven't put out the twins themselves yet.
No, that's what I want.
Can you imagine how easy that is for him to do? It's basically two of the exact same doll. Because it's twins of
Like,
evil.
for those, though, they have to be really right. Like when it's just a mostly human character, because like
One has to look evil and one has to look angelic.
kind of, yeah, it's true. But they also have to. The likeness has to be good. Otherwise, it's going to look like a generic vampire figure. So like, but when he puts out stuff like the monster from the brain that wouldn't die with like the head and all that, it's like that's oh my god, that's awesome.
That is amazing.
It's like nobody else is going to put that out, and that's great. So like those are the ones I really like. So that kind of stuff I love. But I mean, there's always like something new that comes out. They're like, oh my god, they're making that.
Well, any last words for this wonderful journey through our nerddom?
Well, the one thing I realize is we could go on and on because there's so many birthdays and Toy Stories. There's so many other things.
So much regret and anger.
There is a lot of that.
My wife Jean and I were extras in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
that's right.
2002.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire. We were there. We're in the scene, the Times Square scene where Green Goblin kind of crashes the Times Square event or whatever. And if you freeze frame the Blu-ray, you can see us.
It's more than that. If I remember correctly, your lovely wife told me they specifically told all the extras, do not look at the camera. Oh. And what your wife did, she did exactly what she was told. She did not look at the camera. But our little co-host, Shawn Sheridan, what did he do? He looks directly into the camera.
I was reacting to the Green Goblin. I was
you were
terrified.
looking in the camera.
I was acting.
That's all well and good, but I was in the film Howard the Duck.
Really?
Were you really?
Wait,
Matt, I don't think you've ever told me that.
The concert scene? I was in the concert. I am Fuzzy Blur number 3000.
Cool.
In the left-hand part of the screen.
Wait,
Wow.
wait, what?
I was in the audience.
Cool.
One of many.
So can we
cool.
see you in it?
Of course not.
Well, that's stupid. I mean, you can
But it's
actually
Howard
see
the Duck,
Shawn.
though.
Now,
Come on.
Hey,
but for our listeners,
when you look to the
do
left,
not-
when you look at the, don't shower on my parade with your judgment and hate. I'm telling you that when you look at the left-hand side of that screen, you feel me.
You get a sense of you.
There's something
a subliminal.
There's something strong and powerful
Yeah.
coming
Okay.
from that left-hand blur.
All right, I get that, but let me ask you a simple question: Are you telling our listeners to actually watch Howard the Duck?
To buy it on Blu-ray.
No,
I will
listeners,
sign it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
listeners,
We'll sign
no.
it at
We sometimes let's say you have a lot of success in the world, and hey, money's flowing in, and you decide to take a gamble, take a risk, and George Lucas took this big gamble. Hey, I like Howard the Duck. I'm gonna make this movie called Howard the Duck, and it's just not great.
No, it's
Not good, and it's kind of a waste of time.
I like the Howard the Duck in Guardians of the Galaxy, though.
Oh yeah.
I want to see them finally do that right.
I guess if anybody would, actually, yes. Now
they could.
I hope they do, actually. Now Marvel today.
Because that is a really fun
that could be cool.
character, and that was a really funny, enjoyable comic
Well,
book.
you know what that means. If you say Marvel, well, that it's actually like Disney. So Disney, it's like, would Disney ever do a Howard the Duck when they own Donald Duck?
I think it's different enough that they would. If it falls under the Marvel universe, I think they could.
Sure.
I would bet you if they did a Howard the Duck movie, they would throw in a Donald cameo.
Yeah, that's right.
It might be even after the credits kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll save
Howard?
More, maybe
Donald?
maybe we'll save more of this for our Disney episode.
Or Howard the Duck episode.
Because it's coming. Well, this was fun, gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is cool.
And,
this is a nice trip through Nerdland.
Yeah, and we should do this again.
Yes, we
But
should.
please, God, not soon.
Time for listener shout out.
Shout out!
This goes out to Sean Homrig of Austin, Texas,
Cool.
who's the proud owner of a Monster Party cap.
All right.
Yeah.
Sean is originally from Chicago. He's self-described as attorney by day, murder mystery host by night.
Oh my God! I thought you were going to say murder.
Yeah, I was
by
about to say. Glad he added the mystery.
Yeah. Whoa.
Maybe that's because Sean manages the Columbo Confab podcast.
Awesome.
I love Columbo.
I'm a huge Columbo fan.
The earlier version.
I
The
like
earlier
all
ones.
versions,
I
but
do
yeah.
like them all, but I have
Yeah.
a special affinity for the early ones.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Well, it looks like a love letter to Columbo fans, so at least a couple of us are going to be checking that out.
Yes.
Sean, thanks for buying the cap. Thanks for enjoying the show. We'll want to remind our listeners you can find the cap at our eBay store, which is Monster Party Store. Easy to remember. Let's also remind our listeners you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle is at Monster Party HQ. Instagram, also Monster Party HQ. If you're
Cool.
listening to us on iTunes, please take a moment and write a review. We would love to hear from you.
We would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. And I would also like to add a shout out to Monster Party t-shirts.
Monster Party T-shirt.
Cool.
They're not here by now. They should be.
And I want to give a special shout out to our good friends at Creature Features. Hey, Creature Features. People have heard the news that they've lost their lease in Burbank, but hey, they're still going to have a presence. They're still going to do art shows. They're still going to do, they're going to sell DVDs and music. All you have to do is go to their website and find out where exactly they're going to be. They're going to have these special little functions, and it's going to be really, really cool. So just go to creaturefeatures.com. It'll give you all the information that you need to know, okay? Also want to give a special shout out to Time Tunnel Toys. Hey! Time Tunnel Toys, located at 1583 Meridian Avenue in beautiful San Jose, California. Joe and Sharon have a beautiful store filled with all kinds of old books and records and vintage toys, Star Wars toys, He-Man figures, kitschy stuff, black velvet paintings, and every 4 months they put together this beautiful San Jose Super Toy Collectibles show. It's a fantastic event filled with all kinds of vendors with all kinds of vintage toys, and they also have celebrities there every once in a while.
Hey.
So go to their website, Time Tunnel Toys, and check it out.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong!
Live in Nerdland. And while you're there, have an adventure. Like we're doing, right? I've ruined some very collectible toys.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Captain Action?
Yeah.
He should have never put those fucking things in my hand.
No, he put them in your hand.
He did. And he never, to his credit, he never came back and said, hey, where's my Captain Action? He was off. It was the 60s, and he was freaking out. So he didn't have time for that. Good thing. I'll tell you what I did to his Enterprise model, though.
We'll save that for the show.